Chapter 48. Lin and the others walked on the mountain. Their top priority was to get to the rendezvous point. Logically speaking, they should have landed at the Baiyun Temple on the outskirts of Chengdu. However, even an idiot knew that they must have landed in the wrong place. There was no Taoist temple nearby. They were surrounded by mountains. Apart from the green forest, there was nothing else. Right now, they didn't even know where they were. After walking for about an hour, Lin finally saw a road. He was overjoyed. Now that there was a road, he could ask any driver to find out where they were. He could even use a car to get to the Baiyun Temple in Chengdu. Huh? A human is trapped. It's a demon beast. Xianyuan Cheng's expression froze. His body flashed, and he rushed forward. Lin and Su Xiaolan were also startled as a sense of foreboding welled up in their hearts. Boom! A car that was running on the road was stopped by Xianyuan Cheng with his bare hands. The entire front of the car was dented by his hands. Then, a terrifying sound of metal screeching was heard. Rip! Xianyuan Cheng tore the car in half with his bare hands. Then, he pulled off the tentacle that was binding the human and carried him in his arms. Then he dashed to the side. Boom! The car exploded. Xianyuan Cheng held the man in his arms. A gentle smile appeared on his face. That was close. Are you okay? The man's eyes widened. His face was ashen, and his lips trembled. Ghost. Alien. Xianyuan Cheng sighed and shook his head. He understood the man's condition. Obviously, the man was scared out of his wits by the demon beast. Lin and Su Xiaolan stood by the side of the road. When they saw this scene, their mouths formed an O shape. Su Xiaolan was very serious in her studies. She knew that the thing running on the road was not a demon beast, but a car. As for Lin, he had never seen a demon beast tear a demon beast apart. But now, Brother Ching showed him how to tear a car apart with his bare hands. F***CK. He tore a car apart with his bare hands. How could he not be shocked? After a while, Lin and Su Xiaolan recovered. Big Brother Cheng. Lin walked over and reminded him seriously the thing that was running on the road was a car, not a demonic beast. After listening to Lin's words, Xianyuan Cheng fell into deep thought. Oh, I remember now. That's a man-made machine. No wonder I couldn't sense any signs of life. Xianyuan Cheng's eyes lit up as if he had thought of something. Then, he looked apologetically at the chubby man in his arms and said, I'm sorry, I was reckless and accidentally tore your car apart. I'll compensate you next time. The slightly plump man was already pale with fright. When he heard Xianyuan Cheng's words, he shook his head like a rattle drum. No, you don't have to pay. I'm just begging you to let me go. My meat is too greasy and unpalatable. I eat hormone food every day and breathe in smog every day. My meat is poisonous. Xianyuan Cheng and Lin Su Xiaolan, did this middle-aged man think they were man-eating monsters? And Lin sighed. He walked over to the middle-aged man and used a memory erasure technique. This was an immortal technique that every cultivator had to learn before descending into the mortal world. Its purpose was to avoid the current situation. After the man's memory was erased, he fell into a coma. Xianyuan Cheng placed him on the ground and cooperated with Lin by using a recovery technique on him. The middle-aged man slowly regained consciousness. His expression shifted slightly when he saw 3 strangers standing in front of him. Where am I? Why am I here? The middle-aged man felt a little dizzy. He tried hard to recall. He only remembered that he was driving a car. Why was he suddenly lying on the ground? At this moment, a handsome young man said with a smile, Uncle, you've been lying here the entire time. We just happened to pass by and saw you lying on the side of the road. We were worried, so we came to take care of you. Also, is that your car on the side of the road? He pointed in the direction of the road as he spoke. The middle-aged man looked toward the side of the road and saw the smoking wreckage as well as the charred license plate number. His mouth gaped open. Holy F***CK. My car exploded. That's right. That's really strange. You're not injured, so what happened? Lin looked at the middle-aged man with curiosity. Xianyuan Cheng and Su Xiaolan also looked at the middle-aged man with curiosity. It was as if they had seen something unbelievable. It had to be said that their acting skills were really good. The middle-aged man looked at the three of them with a dumbstruck expression. He discovered that they were also looking at him with curiosity. Finally, he pulled out his phone with trembling hands. He took a picture of the car and called the police. Thanks to the middle-aged man, and Lin and the others also hitched a ride with the traffic police. And Lin described himself as a kind-hearted young man who got out of the car midway and helped the middle-aged man. After his speech, the middle-aged man was so touched that he was muddled. After being touched, the two of them chatted happily. In the face of the middle-aged man's gratitude and being touched, Xianyuan Cheng, the main culprit who tore the car with his bare hands, blushed and felt a little embarrassed. And Lin will find a way to compensate this middle-aged man. Xianyuan Cheng whispered in Lin's ear, and Lin smiled and said, "Don't worry, the relevant departments of the country will help us clean up our mess. We'll find someone to pick us up and then let them handle it." Xianyuan Cheng heard Lin's words and breathed a sigh of relief. The guilt in his heart finally lessened a little. The middle-aged man's name was Zheng Hongbang, and he happened to be from Chengdu. The place where the accident happened was not far from Chengdu, only about 50 kilometers away. After an hour of driving, they arrived at their destination. And Lin did not have the leisure to go to the police station with them to make a statement. So he used the great amnesia spell on everyone in the car. After everyone in the car fainted, he got out of the car with Xianyuan Cheng and Su Xiaolan and left. Chengdu was the largest city in the southwest and had the reputation of being the land of abundance. And Lin's hometown was Shancheng, which was not far from Chengdu. He usually came to Chengdu for a walk when he had nothing to do, so he had a certain understanding of the place. Therefore, as soon as he got out of the car, he took Su Xiaolan and Xianyuan Cheng to walk around. Chengdu was full of high-rise buildings, and the area around Chunxi Road was even more lively. All kinds of shops dotted the area, and countless delicious food and restaurants were eye-catching. There was also a bustling crowd walking on the street. It was a bustling scene. It was the first time that Su Xiaolan and Xianyuan Cheng came to the mortal world. When they saw the dazzling array of new things, they widened their eyes and looked around in amazement. Fortunately, they were all from famous sects and clans in the cultivation world. Although they were amazed by these new things, they would not act too exaggeratedly. At least, things like Xianyuan Cheng tearing a car with his bare hands wouldn't happen again. Right, and Lin, don't we need to go to Baiyun Temple to meet with the people who will pick us up first? After walking for a long time, Su Xiaolan remembered that they had not gone to meet with the people who will pick them up yet, and Lin smiled and shook his head. Before we came, our homeroom teacher told us that Baiyun Temple is a very secretive Taoist temple. Ordinary people do not know the existence of this Taoist temple. We landed at the wrong place, so we don't know the specific location of Baiyun Temple. In this case, instead of looking for the people who will pick us up, why don't we let them find us? And Lin continued. Hearing that, Xianyuan Cheng nodded. Yes, this is indeed a good idea. We just need to create some unnatural phenomena, and I think some observation departments will take the initiative to search for us. It will save us a lot of effort. Exactly. We will take action at night. Let's have some fun during the day. And Lin smiled. Chapter 49. And Lin, Su Xiaolan, and Xianyuan Cheng played in the metropolis for an entire day. Under the leadership of Lin, they had a great time and spent all the money in the 5 wallets. You want to ask where the wallets came from? Xianyuan Cheng released his divine sense and could always find some hooligans who were looking for trouble in the corner. So he showed up to enforce justice on behalf of the heavens and then took away some property. It was that simple. The habit of beating monsters for equipment and robbing treasures had always been a tradition in the cultivation world. Coming to the mortal world, it was natural to continue to carry forward this excellent inheritance. Don't you think so? And Lin and the others bought a few clothes, then ate a spicy hot pot, and then walked 100 steps after dinner. It was not until after 10 o'clock in the evening that they decided to start making some big news. At the top of a tall building, there stood 3 people facing the wind. This area was extremely prosperous, with dazzling neon lights constantly flashing. No one would notice the 3 people standing on top of their heads. Come on, Please start your performance. And Lin looked at Su Xiaolan with a smile. Su Xiaolan smiled faintly and casually formed a spell. Suddenly, the surrounding elemental energy surged crazily. A soft cry spread in all directions. Then, a 3-meter-tall, flaming phoenix soared into the sky and exploded high in the sky. Boom! The explosion of the flames was accompanied by a loud sound, and the sky within a radius of 3 meters was reflected red. On the ground, countless people were attracted by the sound and the flames, and then they looked up and saw a shocking scene. Oh my God, am I dreaming? Why is the sky on fire? It's not as simple as a fire. I just saw a firebird flying into the sky. That's why there's such a scene. You're bragging. Do you think the X-Men and Marvel came here to fight? Fire Phoenix. But what's with the flames in the sky? It's too unscientific. The scene of the Fire Phoenix flying into the sky happened too quickly, so not many people saw it. However, the scene of the flames spreading in the sky was witnessed by many people. Some of the quicker ones even took out their phones to take pictures and upload them to their WeChat moments. In an instant, the news spread rapidly in their WeChat moments. Although many people thought that these pictures were photoshopped, they still couldn't stop the pictures from going viral in their WeChat moments because the pictures were too F***ing realistic. Seeing that their goal had been achieved, Xin Yuan Cheng took out a spell formation that could emit vital energy waves. Any cultivator would be able to find the source of the vital energy waves and find them. Sure enough, about half an hour later, there was some movement downstairs. There were 7 or 8 people who had come, and their average cultivation base was around the 5th stage Dao body. In the context of Earth, this was already considered a pretty good strength. Among them, a tall and slender woman with long hair walked out. She was dressed in black casual clothes. The female's cultivation base wasn't bad. She was already at the 7th stage Dao body. She should be the leader of that group of people. After seeing Lin and the others, although she was puzzled, she was very calm and steady. She said, "I'm Huang Shanshan, the captain of the 2nd team of the National Special Operations Department. May I ask why you're releasing immortal spells on a large scale here?" "You're Huang Shanshan?" And Lin's escort for this mission was Huang Shanshan. When he heard this name, he immediately took out a token from his storage ring and said, "We are envoys from the Celestial Court, Chengdu Baiyun Temple." Seeing the familiar token, Huang Shanshan no longer had any doubts in her heart. She bowed respectfully and said, "So it's Lord Immortal Messenger who has arrived. Junior did not welcome you properly. Please forgive me." After she finished speaking, the 7 or 8 attendants behind her also bowed in unison, their movements very orderly. As for why Lin and the others were here instead of at the Baiyun Temple, Huang Shanshan did not have any intention to ask. Instead, she immediately started to arrange their food, clothing, and accommodation. This made Xin Yuan Cheng and the others involuntarily look up to this Huang Shanshan. The Immortal Messenger released an immortal spell to let her determine the coordinates, which meant that the coordinates where they landed were wrong. Regarding this matter, she could also deduce in her heart. The difficult part was that she did not show the slightest intention to understand the cause of this matter, and only did her best to do what she was supposed to do. From this, it could be seen that this woman was very shrewd and capable. Huang Shanshan handed the 3 of them a bank card each. There was 1 billion yuan in the card, and they could spend the money as they pleased. If there was no money in it, they could inform her, and she would immediately help them top up. Since the Immortal Messenger was helping to slay demons, they naturally would not let these yellow and white things restrict the hands and feet of the Immortal Messenger. As for these ordinary things, Xin Yuan Cheng just calmly put the card into his storage ring. However, Su Xiaolan's eyes lit up. She had only spent a few thousand yuan today, so she knew that this 1 billion yuan was already a huge sum of money. Being able to buy and buy as much as they wanted was an extremely joyful thing for any girl. And Lin also put away the card with satisfaction. Purchasing king. He was definitely going to become one. Huang Shanshan led Lin and the others to Chengdu's Crown Plaza Hotel. This was a 5-star hotel, and it was the property of the #1 clan in the southwest, the Zheng family. The head of the Zheng family, Zheng Hongyi, was already waiting at the entrance of the hotel to welcome Enlin and the others. As the head of a #1 clan in the southwest, he had the right to know some secrets, and it was precisely because of this that he was extremely respectful toward Enlin and the others, not daring to slight them in the slightest. Immortal Messenger, I prepared all the electronic equipment and daily necessities you need for your activities in the mortal world in the presidential suite. If there's anything else you need, feel free to tell Little Zheng, and Little Zheng will do his best to satisfy your needs. Zheng Hongyi bowed slightly, and his big belly shrunk as he spoke with a fawning expression. A 40 to 50-year-old uncle kept referring to himself as Little Zheng, and Enlin was really not used to it. However, when he heard the name Zheng Hongyi, a person's name suddenly popped up in his mind. Little Zheng, do you know a person named Zheng Hongbei? Enlin also noticed that their appearances were somewhat similar, so he asked. Zheng Hongyi instantly became excited when he heard this. I do, he's my younger cousin. Enlin's eyes lit up when he heard this. Oh, it's like this. Today, we accidentally tore your cousin's car apart. I have a bank card here. Transfer some money to your cousin and buy him a good car. Even though Zheng Hongyi was a seasoned veteran, he was still quite shocked when he heard Enlin's words. What the F***CK? Could an immortal messenger tear apart a car with his bare hands? Zheng Hongyi reacted extremely quickly, and he immediately said respectfully, My cousin has long wanted to get a new car. He wanted to throw that car away for a long time, but you tore it apart. I can't even thank you enough. How can I accept your money? When Enlin heard this, he knew that Zheng Hongyi was unwilling to accept his money, so he could only resentfully take back the bank card. Right at this moment, Zheng Hongyi said with a fawning smile, If Immortal Messenger likes to tear apart cars with your bare hands, how about I arrange for 100 cars for you to tear apart for fun tomorrow? Don't worry. I have whatever model of car you want to tear apart. Zheng Hongyi patted his chest as he spoke. Su Xiaolan burst into laughter when she heard this. Enlin, on the other hand, waved his hand awkwardly, indicating that there was no need for the trouble. As for the main culprit, Xinyuan Cheng, his extremely handsome face turned slightly red, and he began to turn his face away. Chapter 50. After bidding farewell to the very enthusiastic Zheng Hongyi, Enlin and the others moved into the presidential suite. The living room of the suite was filled with all kinds of trendy electronic products. Enlin glanced at these products and felt that the first thing he needed to do was to teach Xinyuan Cheng and Su Xiaolan how to use a mobile phone. In the mortal world, with a mobile phone in hand, basically anything could be solved, whether it was communication, shopping, or searching for information. It could all be done with a mobile phone. Both of them were relatively smart people, so they learned quickly. Enlin only taught for half an hour, and they had mastered the basic operation of a mobile phone. They even began to familiarize themselves with the use of some essential software. After that, Enlin left and let them play by themselves. The trip to Kunlun Mountain to strengthen the seal of the Demon Pagoda was set for 10 days later. They still had a period of time to move freely in the mortal world and do what they wanted. The next day, Enlin put on a set of sportswear and walked to the street, starting his career as a shopping agent. As for Su Xiaolan and Xinyuan Cheng, they also had their own activities, doing things that interested them. The task of purchasing 30,000 spirit stones was not a simple task, and there was no lack of particularly tricky items. This would be mentioned later. Enlin planned to start with the simple ones first. He swaggered into an electronics store and then bought more than a dozen air conditioners, more than 20 oversized widescreen TVs, hundreds of high-end computers, hundreds of mobile phones, and more than 200 single-lens reflex cameras. His actions directly scared the shopping guide, and finally, the general manager of the electronics store was alarmed, suspecting that someone had come to cause trouble. But in the end, Enlin walked out of the electronics store under the flattering smile of the general manager of the electronics store. The things he wanted to buy had been sent to a specific location. After buying the electronics, it was time to buy jewelry. The requirements for jewelry were somewhat varied, and there were all kinds. Enlin was holding a list, and even he was a little annoyed looking at it. Just as he was walking on the road, a crisp and sweet voice suddenly came. And Lin. This voice was somewhat familiar to him, and he couldn't help but raise his head to look. Then he saw a beautiful woman with long hair looking at him with a shocked expression. Lin Wuhua. And Lin couldn't help but be slightly startled when he saw the pure and beautiful girl in front of him. Lin Wuhua was Lin's girlfriend, whom he had met in university. In fact, they had only been together for a few days when Lin's family was in trouble. Lin Wuhua had left him after learning that he owed her a few $1,000,000. Regarding this matter, Lin actually did not have much prejudice. They hadn't known each other for long, and their feelings for each other were very thin. Who would be willing to live an endless life of debt repayment with a person who owed millions? Therefore, Lin had already let go of the past. He smiled at Lin Wuhua and said, "Yo, long time no see." He noticed the luxuriously dressed man next to Lin Wuhua. That man should be Lin Wuhua's current boyfriend, right? It seemed that the gaze he was looking at him wasn't very friendly. Lin Wuhua softly grunted. She looked at Lin and felt that Lin's temperament seemed to have become somewhat different. She hesitated for a moment, but still opened her mouth and said, "Actually, I was quite worried about you when you suddenly disappeared from school. How had you been recently?" In response to her greeting, Lin smiled. Just as he was about to reply, the man next to her said impatiently, "Wuhua, why are you wasting your breath on this person who owes millions of dollars? People like him will only be like that for the rest of their lives." The man noticed the way Lin Wuhua looked at Lin and felt very uncomfortable. He knew that Lin was Lin Wuhua's ex-boyfriend, and because of this relationship, he had some other thoughts. The man smiled disdainfully at Lin and said, "I really don't know how a person like you can still stand here so confidently. Just because Wuhua is polite to you, you really think that you are someone important?" Hearing this, Lin was stunned. He thought to himself, is there something wrong with this man? What exactly is going on in this person's head? He's shooting off fists the moment they meet. In the end, he looked at Lin Wuhua with some sympathy and said, "In any case, you are a student at Huaqing University. No matter how much you need a boyfriend, you don't have to find someone like him, right?" Hearing this, Lin Wuhua's face also became somewhat red. It was unknown whether it was from shame or anger. "What did you say?" Hearing this, the man immediately exploded. "Do you know who I am? I am now the boss of a company with assets of tens of millions of dollars. You are a person who is destined to never be able to make a comeback. Why do you have to talk about me here?" The man glared angrily at Lin and shouted loudly. And Lin still didn't say anything, but the gaze he looked at Lin Wuhua became even more sympathetic. "That's enough, Gao Peng." Lin Wuhua's face was angry as she shouted to stop him. It was as if Gao Peng had eaten gunpowder today. He was targeting Lin at every turn, making her feel somewhat embarrassed. However, Lin Wuhua's shout did not have any effect. Gao Peng had no intention of stopping at all. It seemed as if he was enjoying the feeling of targeting Lin. Just as he was about to continue speaking, the sound of an emergency brake sounded near Lin. A red Ferrari sports car just happened to stop right next to him. Under the sunlight, the car's body was covered with a faint halo, like a burning flower. The design of this Ferrari was very eye-catching, instantly attracting the attention of countless passersby. Immediately after, the car door opened and a woman wearing a white t-shirt and denim shorts alighted from the car. The woman's slender and well-proportioned thighs were exposed, extremely dazzling. On top of the slender and graceful figure was a pure and flawless face that could turn all living things upside down. Her beauty was filled with youth and vitality, but also appeared noble and otherworldly. As soon as she appeared, she attracted the attention of all passers-by, even stealing the limelight of the Ferrari. Just like that, the woman walked to Lin's side with a smile and said in a charming voice, "Hi, Lin, I found you." This woman who suddenly appeared was Su Xiaolan. Seeing this scene, Lin Wuhua was extremely surprised. In her heart, she was puzzled as to why Lin would know such a woman. She turned her head to look at Gao Peng and discovered that he was actually staring at the woman. His entire person was stunned. Seeing that he was so disappointing, Lin Wuhua couldn't help but sigh in her heart. Su Xiaolan looked at the two people in front of Enlin and asked curiously, "Are these two your friends?" Enlin smiled indifferently and introduced them. "This is Lin Wuhua, my ex-girlfriend. The one beside her is her current boyfriend, President Gao." Huh. Hearing this, Su Xiaolan was shocked. However, she quickly regained her senses and looked at the top of Enlin's head, where there was a faint green light. Under the astonished gazes of the crowd, she smiled sweetly and held onto Enlin's arm with her pure white jade-like arm. Then, she looked at Lin Wuhua with interest and said with a smile, "Big brother, and I have to say you must have been blind to actually like this kind of mediocre girl." "You? What did you say?" This was the first time that Lin Wuhua was called mediocre. She immediately became angry and looked at Su Xiaolan with shame and indignation. Actually, Lin Wuhua could already be considered a beauty. However, compared to the extremely dazzling Su Xiaolan, she was somewhat lacking. Comparing the two was like comparing a firefly to the bright moon. Therefore, although she was angry, she couldn't say anything. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded. "Hello, my name is Gao Peng. May I know your name, miss?" Gao Peng recovered from his shock and actually took the initiative to extend his right hand. He spoke with a smile, as if he wanted to get to know her. Seeing this scene, Lin Wuhua almost fainted from anger. "Didn't you see that your girlfriend was just being bullied by her? What's wrong with you?" Su Xiaolan was slightly stunned. Then her expression became even more interesting. She ignored Gao Peng's extended hand and said happily, "Haha, big brother, and I didn't expect your ex-girlfriend to be even more blind." Lin Wuhua's body swayed, and she was so angry that she almost lost her balance. This was really a critical hit. At this moment, Gao Peng also came to his senses and withdrew his hand with a livid expression. "Big brother, and do you still want to play house with these two insignificant people? Don't forget about the important matters." Su Xiaolan continued to hold onto Enlin's arm and said in a sweet voice, looking like a little bird that was relying on its master. This scene was seen by many passers-by, and they looked at Enlin with envy and jealousy. Hearing this, Enlin also shook his head helplessly. "Let's go, I just happened to pass by here. I didn't expect a clown to suddenly appear and keep performing there." Hearing this, Lin Wuhua's face flushed red. Gao Peng's body even trembled slightly, but he was unable to open his mouth to refute. Just the Ferrari Enzo that the girl was driving was worth 30 million. It was enough to buy 3 companies like his, and Lin was suspected to be her boyfriend. How could he be someone who owed a few million? One could imagine how laughable his words and actions were. Thinking back to Lin's previous calm expression, it seemed like the other party really was treating him like a clown. Gao Peng only wanted to find a hole to hide in now. This was too King embarrassing. Just like that, under the gaze of countless passers-by, and Lin and Su Xiaolan got into the Ferrari. Under the scorching sun, they looked like a ball of red flames as they sped away on the road. Chapter 51. Inside the fiery red Ferrari, Su Xiaolan pursed her dainty lips and drove with an indifferent expression. However, her slender body was trembling slightly, as if she was trying to stifle her laughter, and Lin wore a resigned expression upon seeing this. "Laugh if you want to. Why are you holding it in?" Puffed. Huh. Su Xiaolan really burst into laughter. She didn't give Lin any face at all. "You allowed me to laugh just now, so don't get angry. Ha ha ha. Is it really that funny?" And Lin pursed his lips. Su Xiaolan used her slender hand as a microphone and placed it next to Lin's mouth with a smile. "Then I'd like to interview Mr. Greenhatten. How did you feel at that time?" Hey, that's too much. What Mr. Greenhatten?" And Lin glared at Su Xiaolan. "Lin Wuhua and I were only boyfriend and girlfriend for a few days. We broke up because I owed a few million yuan." "Greenhat? That's impossible." "What? You were only boyfriend and girlfriend for a few days? What kind of girlfriend is that? You still have a nerve to introduce her as your ex-girlfriend." Su Xiaolan shook her head, and Lin blushed upon hearing this. "I even held hands with her. Why doesn't that count?" Su Xiaolan snickered. "Then you also held hands with me. Does that mean you can announce that I'm your cultivation partner in the future?" And Lin was speechless upon hearing this. If that's the case, Then you probably don't care about what happened just now. Sigh. I put in so much effort to protect your dignity. Su Xiaolan was a little disappointed, and Lin felt a warmth in his heart when he heard this. Regardless, I really have to thank you for what you did just now. Su Xiaolan chuckled and didn't say anything, and Lin calmed himself down and turned his attention elsewhere. Then, he discovered something horrifying. Lan, when did you learn how to drive? And Lin's eyes widened as he looked at the female driver next to him in shock. A faint smile appeared on Su Xiaolan's face. Just now. Just now? And Lin swallowed a mouthful of saliva as he watched the smooth movements of the woman beside him. He could not help but fall into a trance. Was she trying to clear the female driver's name? With such terrifying talent, could he be the reincarnation of the racing god? Then this car is... And Lin pointed at the Ferrari and asked, "Oh, I want to learn how to drive. So I asked Zheng Hongyi for a car. Then he gave me this car. The exterior of this car is quite handsome. It's even better than the cars on the road. I have to say that Zheng Hongyi has good taste." Su Xiaolan rarely praised, and Lin was speechless. This was not a matter of taste, dear. How could a sports car worth tens of millions and a car worth hundreds of thousands be the same? But then again, Zheng Hongyi was really generous. He could let Su Xiaolan, a person who had never touched a car before, drive this kind of limited edition sports car. He was really impressed. "What are you going to do next?" "I'll give you a ride," Su Xiaolan said. Let's go to the International Shopping Center next. I still need to buy a few hundred pieces of clothing and jewelry," and Lin replied. "Huh? Don't tell me you want to open a clothing store and jewelry store." Su Xiaolan looked at Lin in surprise. A smile appeared on Lin's face, and he told Su Xiaolan everything about how he had helped his upperclassmen shop for them. Su Xiaolan nodded with a smile on her face. "I didn't think you would have such a good head for business." "Of course," and Lin said proudly. He then said, "Do you need spirit stones now? I have 30,000 spirit stones. I don't have any use for them now. How about I give them to you?" And Lin had received many favors from Su Xiaolan, but he never had the chance to repay her. Now he wanted to take this opportunity to show off. "Spirit stones," Su Xiaolan shrugged. "I don't need them. Plus, you worked so hard to save up. How can I take them?" And Lin was a little disappointed, but he didn't give up. He continued, "Is there anything in particular that you want?" "Something in particular." Su Xiaolan rubbed her chin with one hand and pondered, and Lin wore an expectant expression as he waited for Su Xiaolan to speak. Unfortunately, even after thinking for a quarter of an hour, she still couldn't figure out anything. Just as Lin was about to fall into despair again, a sweet voice sounded from within the car. "Master, master, Little Red knows what Sister Lon Lon wants." A bright red head popped out from Lin's pocket and said. Little Red was nourished by Lin's profound chi and broke free from the restraints of its roots. It started to transform and had a certain amount of mobility. "Oh, tell me." And Lin's eyes lit up. At this moment, Su Xiaolan also turned toward Xiaohong. She was a little curious about Xiaohong's answer. Little Red shook its head. "Women are like flowers. Flowers are like dreams. Giving flowers to women is a very romantic thing. It will make them feel happy from the bottom of their hearts." And Lin's eyelids twitched. "So you mean," Little Red said excitedly, "Master, why don't you give me to Sister Lon Lon? As long as it's for you. I can sell my body without any regrets." And Lin's face twitched when he heard this. Su Xiaolan couldn't help but burst out laughing. "Let's not talk about this terrible line first. Is staying by my side that bad?" And Lin pinched Little Red's head and said angrily, "Ayaya." Little Red felt a little pain from the pinch and hurriedly apologized. "No, Little Red doesn't want to leave Master. Little Red just wants to share Master's burden." "Ayaya." And Lin snorted. He didn't want to waste time talking to it. He directly put this annoying vixen into his pocket. Su Xiaolan covered her mouth and chuckled. After a while, she said, "We're here." An eye-catching Ferrari was parked in the parking lot at the side of the International Shopping Center, attracting the attention of countless people. Immediately after, the scene of a handsome man and a beautiful woman getting out of the car shocked everyone to the point that their jaws dropped to the ground. The two extraordinary-looking people each holding a big sack, walked into the shopping center in a hurry. Their first stop was the jewelry store. The shopping attendants of the jewelry store were all frightened when they saw the two of them walk into the store with a sack in their hands. When you were selling jewelry and saw someone carrying a sack in an aggressive manner, what would you think of at the first moment? Of course it was robbery, especially the man in the lead. He pointed at the jewelry in the cabinet and said in a clear voice, "Take these. Take them all out." Just this sentence scared a few female shopping attendants to the point of trembling. Some of them even moved their hands to the alarm. However, at this moment, the man took out a card and threw it on the counter. "Why are you guys still in daze? Hurry up and cooperate with me to take the jewelry. I'm very busy." Seeing this, a beautiful shopping attendant stopped the alarm and asked hesitantly, "Sir, are you going to pay by card?" "Nonsense. If I don't pay by card, are you saying that I'm robbing you?" The man rolled his eyes at her. The shopping attendant's heart raced. "Sir, I really thought you were going to rob me." When the shopping attendants heard what the man said, they all let out a sigh of relief and calmed down. "Then, sir, what are you going to do with this sack?" Another shopping attendant asked curiously. "Of course I'm going to fill this sack." The man said disapprovingly. "Fill? Fill it?" Everyone stared at the man in bewilderment. "Have you seen people buy jewelry in a sack? This is jewelry, not rice." The shopping attendants finally calmed down, but at this moment, they were on tenterhooks again. As expected, "Let's call the police." The man came back to his senses. "Oh no, I'm not going to fill this sack." When the shopping attendants heard this, their hearts relaxed. "So sir was joking? Because there's still a sack. I might have to fill 2 sacks." The man pointed at the woman behind him. All they saw was the woman holding the sack in her hands with a smile, looking eager to try all the shopping attendants. Just like that, the jewelry store's shopping attendants were ruined by Lin and Su Xiaolan. Chapter 52. Help me wrap up this pearl necklace. Yes, this row. Take out all the masonry necklaces in this cabinet, too. I want 100 silver bracelets. Yes, this model. What? Not that many? Such a big jewelry store. What's he doing? Hey, Xiaolan. That jade Buddha is also on the list. Throw it into the sack. The salesperson was busy taking out the jewelry from the cabinet. For the first time, they realized that selling jewelry could be so satisfying. They didn't need to persuade the customers to buy it. They just needed to take it out from the cabinet. This feeling was so satisfying. If it weren't for the man who put the bank card with a balance of 1 billion on the counter, they would have thought that they were helping a robber. The beautiful manager of the jewelry store stuck close to Lin and helped him carry the sack with a charming smile. When she thought of the ridiculous sales and the huge commission after this business was over, her smile became even more charming. She forcefully opened the burlap bag, hoping to fill it with more. This feeling was so good, and Lin also experienced what it felt like to be a tycoon. He tossed one valuable piece of jewelry after another into the sack, as if they were cabbages on the market. This feeling was amazing. The outside of the jewelry store was crowded with onlookers. They looked at the shocking scene in the jewelry store and were shocked to the point that they were a little sluggish. If it weren't for the happy smiles on the faces of the salesperson and manager, they would have thought that the jewelry store had been robbed. They're all buying jewelry, but why is there such a big difference between them? You've grown up, so this is how rich people buy things. I've seen a lot of rich people, but I've never seen such a crazy rich person who buys jewelry. He's so generous. Could it be that Prince Wang Tsong? Impossible. The man in front is so much more handsome than Prince Wang. Oh my God. I really want to run over and ask that handsome nouveau riche if he needs a pendant. Don't daydream. Didn't you see the beautiful manager of the jewelry store? She follows the man wherever he goes. She's already taken the spot for a pendant. Soon, Lin and Su Xiaolan looted almost all the jewelry in the jewelry store. I know it was sold out. Then, Lin and Su Xiaolan put the whole bag of jewelry into the car under the cheers of many shopping guides and onlookers. Along the way, the scene was unusually lively, just like a big star appearing in a shopping mall. After returning to the car, Lin began to store the jewelry into his storage ring. In reality, the cultivators of the Kingdom of the 9 States didn't really care much about jewelry from the mortal world. They only asked Lin to help them purchase it out of curiosity. They were produced in a mortal world and were made with the unique craftsmanship of the mortal world. They were the local specialties of the mortal world. It was like an interesting and good-looking souvenir that could be taken out and played with when one was bored. Very few people would wear it on their body all the time. It was also because of this that their requirements for jewelry were much lower. They generally didn't care about the style or quality of the jewelry. For example, a brick necklace. They only wanted the necklace to have a brick on it. They didn't care about the style or even how many carats the brick should be. Thus, Lin didn't have to worry about it. However, the following clothing purchase was more difficult. The clothing of the mortal world was more trendy and was deeply loved by some cultivators. Some cultivators would wear some clothing from the mortal world when they went out. Although there weren't many clothes on the list, the requirements for each item were not low. Brand, type, size, style, everything had to be considered, and Lin looked at the list in his hand and massaged his brows in distress. Being a shopping agent was not an easy job. However, he had already accepted the spirit stones, so he could only grit his teeth and carry on. Just like that, and Lin and Su Xiaolan rushed into the international shopping center again. This time, the difficulty of purchasing clothes increased exponentially. Firstly, the mission itself was not easy. Secondly, it was because of Su Xiaolan. She happened to be interested in the clothing of the mortal world and wanted to buy a few sets to bring back to the cultivation world to wear. Lin originally thought that it was just a few sets of clothes and that it would be a matter of minutes. However, he still underestimated Su Xiaolan's shopping philosophy. And Lin, do you think this dress that I'm wearing looks good? It looks very good. I'll buy this one. There's no hurry. Let's look at the other clothes first. And Lin, what do you think of this t-shirt I'm wearing? Wow, it's youthful and energetic. Great. Hurry up and buy it. Ah, but this color doesn't feel bright enough. Let's walk around a bit more. And Lin, look at this floral top. What do you think of it? It matches you very well. You look like a flower fairy when you wear it. You can't miss it. Really? But I think this pattern is a bit messy. Let's look at the other styles first. And Lin, look at this. It's great. And Lin, look at this. And Lin, I'm wearing this. And Lin, this looks good. Why don't you buy this? And Lin's eyes lit up when he realized what was going on. Okay, buy. Hurry up and buy. He sat up in shock, afraid that Su Xiaolan would go back on her words. He grabbed the clothes and ran to pay the bill. The shop assistant watched as Lin rushed to pay the bill. She couldn't help but say to Su Xiaolan enviously, "Your boyfriend is so good. I've never seen such a proactive man." Su Xiaolan's fair and delicate face was full of pride. She said, "I've only bought one shirt. My plan was to buy 5. He still has a long way to go." And Lin had just paid the bill and came back in high spirits. When he heard this, his legs immediately turned to jelly and he knelt down. In the evening, the shopping trip finally came to an end. He had only completed 1/5 of his clothing procurement plan. His original plan was to complete half of it, but an accident occurred. As for this accident, you know what it is. Su Xiaolan bought 5 clothes and a luxurious evening gown. Tonight, Yang Shanshan had organized a ball and invited the top political and business elites of the Southwest region. The purpose of this ball was to let these people get to know Lin and the others. This way, if anything happened in the future, they would be able to do their best to cooperate with Lin and the others on their missions. For this ball, Lin also bought a tuxedo. Although it was his first time wearing this kind of clothing, he had a good figure and a handsome face. Coupled with the unique, otherworldly aura of a cultivator, he gave off an extraordinarily handsome feeling at first glance. As for Su Xiaolan, she would look like a goddess even if she was given a linen gown. Thus, the question of whether the clothes would match was completely non-existent to her. Night fell. The Ferrari roared as it sped toward White Jade Palace. White Jade Palace was a private clubhouse. It got its name because the main building was a small white palace. The ball for Lin and the others was being held in this White Jade Palace. Chapter 53. Night fell and the sky was dotted with stars. Dozens of luxury cars of different styles were parked outside a manor surrounded by mountains and rivers. In a manor surrounded by green mountains and clear waters, there was a palace made of white bricks. The palace was brightly lit, and soothing music was playing. Influential figures from all over the Southwest were gathered here. There were big shots in politics, top tycoons in the business world, and leaders of some famous families. They were all invited here by Zheng Hongbang, the head of the Zheng family. Mayor Liu, you're here too? A fat man saw a middle-aged man wearing glasses in front of him and hurriedly put on a smile to greet him. The middle-aged man smiled faintly when he saw the fat man. This time, I'm just accompanying Mayor Qin. The fat man was shocked when he heard that. He did not expect Mayor Qin to be attending this ball. One had to know that Mayor Qin was a deputy provincial-level official. He was usually calm and upright, and rarely attended such social events. What matter did the Zheng family's patriarch have to invite him to come as well? The fat man's name was Wei Ronghui. He was a big real estate businessman in the country and had recently acquired a sizable piece of land in Chengdu. This was a rare opportunity to meet Mayor Qin, so he immediately wondered if he should take this opportunity to get closer to him. Wei Ronghui chatted with Deputy Mayor Liu for a while before walking toward Mayor Qin. Then he saw a well-built man in his 40s standing silently to the side. This person looks familiar. Wei Ronghui walked over and looked at the front. Holy shit, isn't this the head of the Provincial Public Security Department, Zhou Zheng? Isn't he busy with the strange deaths in Huangshi Village? Why is he in the mood to attend this ball? Wei Ronghui was shocked. He recalled what Zheng Hongyi said when he invited him to the ball. It seemed that he wanted to introduce a few people to everyone at the ball. Thinking of this, his beady eyes, which were almost squeezed into slits by his fat, looked around. Could it be some big shot? At this moment, 3 young people also walked into the scene of the ball. The leader was a tall and thin man. After looking around the scene, a smile appeared on his face. Following behind him was a beautiful woman with long hair and a man with a smug smile on his face. Wuhua, those who attend this ball are all big shots. Be careful with your words and actions, the man warned. Behind the tall and thin man were Lin Wuhua and Gao Peng. Lin Wuhua nodded solemnly at Gao Peng's warning. Originally, they were not qualified to attend a ball of this level. The reason they had the opportunity to come here was all because of young Master Zheng. This Lord Zheng was Zheng Yong, the son of the host of the ball, Zheng Hongyi. He and Gao Peng were university classmates and could be considered good friends. It was also because of this relationship that Gao Peng had the opportunity to bring Lin Wuhua to this ball. Gao Peng looked around at the big shots around him. His eyes were burning with passion. If he could establish a relationship with them, his company would definitely be able to take a big leap forward. Most of the people at the ball would smile and nod at Zheng Yong when they saw him, and some would even greet him. The socialites around him also looked at Zheng Yong with anticipation in their eyes. From time to time, Zheng Yong would also size up these young ladies who came from prestigious families. Although there were many beautiful ones, he didn't particularly like any of them. He was tired of seeing so many women. Looking at ordinary beauties now was no different from looking at ordinary people. It was difficult for him to reignite his passion. However, at this time, a figure appeared in his field of vision, causing him to freeze on the spot. Zheng Yong was dumbfounded. The woman in the red evening gown gave him an unprecedented shock. He had never seen such a beautiful and dazzling woman. She had a perfect body and a face that could topple cities. She was so beautiful that she overwhelmed the crowd. Seeing Zheng Yong suddenly freeze, Gao Peng followed his gaze and exclaimed, "It's them." Hearing Gao Peng's voice, Zheng Yong reacted. He turned around and asked, "Gao Peng, do you know them?" Gao Peng nodded. "I only met them once. I only know one man. His name is Lin, and he is a student. As for the other man and woman, I don't know them." Gao Peng purposely hid the fact that the woman seemed to be close to Lin from Zheng Yong. He had sensed Zheng Yong's interest in the woman. It made sense. Anyone would be moved by such a noble and beautiful woman. Gao Peng knew Zheng Yong's character very well. If he had his eyes on a prey, he would do anything to get it. Now, all he needed to do was wait and watch the show. Zheng Yong began to size up the 3 people. All 3 of them were unfamiliar faces. They looked very young, and their temperament was extraordinary. They should be from some famous family. "Oh, Lu, serve the wine." Zheng Yong beckoned. Immediately after, a butler came up with a tray of wine and handed over 2 glasses of red wine that had been prepared beforehand with experienced movements. This red wine was no ordinary wine. It was the passion wine brewed by the Heaven Divination cult. It had a strong, alluring effect. Zheng Yong was a person who didn't want to waste time on relationships. Whoever he liked, it was a matter of a glass of wine. Holding the glass, he stared at the woman with a burning gaze. He thought to himself, "I must get my hands on her tonight." Zheng Hongyi and Huang Shanshan had to leave for a while to receive a guest who had suddenly arrived. Therefore, after Enlin, Su Xiaolan, and Xin Yuan Cheng met up, they began to stroll around the ball. "Hello, my name is Zheng Yong. Welcome to the ball." Suddenly, a tall, thin man appeared in front of them with a glass of wine in his hand. "Hello, my name is Enlin." Enlin replied politely to the man who suddenly came to strike up a conversation. Following that, Xin Yuan Cheng and Su Xiaolan also introduced themselves. Zheng Yong, who had originally planned to have a drink with the stunning beauty, was shocked when he heard their names. He was in a bad mood. He remembered what his father told him before he went out. "Little Yong, there will be 3 people specially sent by the country to attend this ball. Their names are Enlin, Su Xiaolan, and Xin Yuan Cheng. This ball is for them. Remember, you're nothing but a grandson in front of them. Don't neglect them." Zheng Yong knew what Zheng Hongyi's words meant. These 3 people had powerful backgrounds. They were not people he could afford to offend. "Oh my God, I actually wanted to make that woman drink the passion wine." The more Zheng Yong thought about it, the more scared he became. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead. "Brother Zheng, what's wrong?" Enlin noticed something was wrong with Zheng Yong's expression and asked concernedly. Zheng Yong regained his senses and apologized. "I'm not feeling well all of a sudden. I'm sorry, I'll be taking my leave." He just wanted to take the wine away and leave this place as soon as possible. This wine was like a ticking time bomb that kept him on tenterhooks. "Hey, this wine looks good." Enlin noticed the red wine on the butler's tray, and he picked it up. Damn it! Zheng Yong's body swayed when he saw this. "Come on, it's fate that we met. Let's have a toast." Enlin smiled and raised his glass. Zheng Yong really wanted to smash the glass of wine in his right hand when he heard this. Have a toast? Then make Enlin fall in love with him? What a joke. The conversation between Zheng Yong and Lin and the others attracted the attention of many people at the ball. Gao Peng, who was in the crowd, was confused. He didn't understand what was going on. Why did Zheng Yong, who was full of confidence before, suddenly become a coward? Seeing Zheng Yong hesitate, and Lin narrowed his eyes and asked, "What's wrong? Are you not feeling well and can't drink?" "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really not feeling well right now. When I've recovered, I'll definitely drink with you, brotherin," Zheng Yong said immediately, following Enlin's words. "Don't worry, I have a way to cure your discomfort." Enlin smiled faintly. "Brotherin, you know medicine?" Zheng Yong was a little uneasy. "Yes, it's called physical therapy." Enlin smiled. He suddenly raised his right hand and slapped Zheng Yong's face with the force of the wind. Slap! The loud sound of the slap reverberated throughout the ball. Zheng Yong was sent flying 2 meters away by the huge force of the slap. 2 of his teeth were also knocked out by the slap. He spat out blood and rolled on the ground. Half of his face was swollen from the slap. Gasp! Many of the people who were secretly observing Enlin and the others drew sharp intakes of breath upon seeing this with incredulity on their faces. Gao Peng's eyes were wide open, dumbfounded. Holy sh*T. What's going on? Why did Enlin hit Zheng Yong in public? Enlin turned around and smiled at the dazed Xin Yuan Cheng and Su Xiaolan. Yes, when dealing with scum like him, if you can use your fists, try not to use your mouth. Chapter 54. When Zheng Yong was slapped, the noise was so loud that most of the people at the ball heard the commotion and rushed over to watch. Then, they heard a sentence that made them even more dumbfounded. When dealing with scum like him, if you can use your fists, try not to use your mouth. The crowd was shocked once again. Some people even felt that this sentence was ridiculous. Was this person crazy? Not only did he hit someone, but he also scolded them after hitting them. What exactly happened? Did they miss out on some plot? Why did the two of them suddenly hit each other when they were talking nicely at the beginning? Even those who had been paying attention to them from the beginning to the end had a blank look on their faces. Xin Yuan Cheng fell silent after hearing Enlin's words. Then he nodded in agreement and said, "Enlin, what you said makes sense." A smile appeared on Su Xiaolan's face, and she didn't say anything. When the celebrities from all over the world saw that the other two did not show any remorse or apology and instead expressed their approval, they couldn't help but widen their eyes. So it wasn't just one person who had gone crazy, but all three of them. Zheng Yong fell to the ground, his body trembling. He stared at Lin with his eyes wide open. He was stunned by that slap. Ever since he was a child, his status was so noble that no one had ever scolded him, let alone hit him. But now, this person in front of him had slapped him in public and called him scum. He had never been humiliated like this before. He was so angry that his body trembled. However, due to his status, he couldn't do anything. Lin Wuhua looked at Lin, who was surrounded in the center, with a worried look on her face. Gao Peng, on the other hand, was ecstatic. Even though things had progressed a little beyond his expectations, it seemed like Lin's fate was going to be even more miserable, and this satisfied him with a certain twisted sense of satisfaction. Soon a slightly plump man also squeezed in. What happened? Why are there so many people surrounding him? When the crowd saw the newcomer, their expressions became even more interesting. Fine, after my son was beaten, I came. The newcomer was Zheng Yong's father, Zheng Hongyi, the master of the Zheng family, the #1 family in the southwest. Some people seemed to have already seen the tragic end of Enlin and the others, shaking their heads and sighing. Zheng Hongyi looked at Zheng Yong, who was lying on the ground with one side of his face swollen like a pig's head. Then he saw Enlin and the other two surrounded by the crowd. He couldn't help but be stunned. Enlin gently swirled the wine glass in his hand. The red wine looked extremely bright under the light. Discipline your son well. Don't let him use fake wine to harm people again. Zheng Hongyi heard Enlin's words and looked at the red wine in Enlin's hand. The quick-witted him immediately guessed the ins and outs of the matter. He took a deep breath, lowered his head, and walked to Zheng Yong's side. "Dad!" Zheng Yong's face was filled with fear. "Pa!" Another slap resounded through the entire ball. Zheng Hongyi raised his hand high, his whole body trembling. That wasn't the end of it. Zheng Hongyi punched and kicked Zheng Yong, who was on the ground. "You idiot! Do you know what you've done? You better King remember this and repent." Zheng Hongyi cursed as he punched and kicked Zheng Yong on the ground. He knew that the more he hit and cursed, the higher his son's chances of survival would be. This scene stunned everyone in the ball. Some people thought they were seeing things and kept rubbing their eyes. "Oh my God, is Zheng Hongyi crazy? It's those 3 people who are beating up your son. Shouldn't you be teaching them a lesson? Why are you beating up your own son?" Zheng Hongyi was serious this time. Every punch landed on flesh, and the sound of collision could be heard clearly by the crowd. After a while, he seemed to be tired and shouted at the housekeeper, "Old Liu, drag this unfilial son out and continue beating him until his legs are broken." The housekeeper looked at Zheng Hongyi in a daze, unable to react. At this time, Zheng Hongyi shouted again, "What are you waiting for? Go!" Housekeeper Liu was startled by this shout and quickly called the security guards to carry the bruised and swollen Zheng Yong away. "Old Zheng, I hope you're not joking when you say break his legs." At this moment, a tall and slender woman in a black evening dress walked over with a frosty expression and spoke in a cold voice. She was Huang Shanshan, who had rushed over with Zheng Hongyi. Huang Shanshan also noticed that there was something wrong with the wine in Enlin's hand. These medicines could fool ordinary people, but cultivators with a certain level of cultivation could see through it at a glance. "Don't worry, Zheng Hongyi, always do what I say." Zheng Hongyi's expression was resolute. He then walked toward Enlin and bowed in apology. "I'm really sorry. I didn't teach my son well. Are you all satisfied with the way I've dealt with that unfilial son?" Enlin nodded. "It's SOSO. Tell your son to restrain himself in the future. Otherwise, the next thing I break will be his 3rd leg." How could Lin not know what Zheng Yong was thinking before? He wanted a drug, Su Xiaolan, although he would never succeed. Just the thought alone was enough for Lin to not tolerate. And Lin did not go too hard on Zheng Hongyi only because of Zheng Hongyi. Zheng Hongyi trembled when he heard this. He knew that his son's life was saved. He immediately said excitedly, "I can't thank you enough for your magnanimity." Everyone at the ball felt like they were dreaming when they saw this scene. Someone had beaten up his son, and he still had to help them beat him up. Then he still had to thank them. Gao Peng was also shocked and almost lost his balance. What on earth happened? He couldn't understand it all. Some people were confused, but some people who were clear-minded quickly understood. The fake wine-harming people that Lin mentioned might be the main point of this incident. It was very likely that there was a problem with Zheng Yang's wine. After discovering the fake wine, Zheng Hongyi's way of dealing with it and the way he addressed them as special envoy showed that the three people's identities were not simple. Perhaps they were the people that Zheng Hongyi was going to introduce to everyone tonight. Sure enough, after dealing with Zheng Yang's matter, Zheng Hongyi solemnly introduced Lin, Xianyuan Cheng, and Su Xiaolan to everyone present. The three of them were now special envoys from the central government's Special Case Handling Department. The people present did not really understand this identity. But when Huang Shanshan took out a top-secret letter, they understood it. The content of the letter stated that all government officials in the southwestern region, upon seeing this letter, must provide as many convenient conditions as possible for the special envoys to carry out their tasks. After everyone finished reading the letter, they all looked at the three young men in shock. The effectiveness of this letter was even effective against the provincial party secretary. If the letter was true, then the background and identity of these three people were simply too high. The people at the ball finally began to understand Zheng Hongyi's actions. All of his illogical actions were explained at this moment. When Gao Peng saw this letter, he stood dumbfounded on the spot. He had never imagined that the purpose of this ball was to make it more convenient for Lin and the others to carry out their tasks. These famous bigwigs were all here to communicate with Lin and the others. He really felt that he was going crazy. He had actually mocked such a person before, secretly plotting against him. He really didn't want to live anymore. Lin Wuhua was even more dazed, and Lin was still a student at Huaqing University last year. Didn't he get into debt and drop out? How did he suddenly become a special envoy from the central government? To be able to make all the bigwigs in the southwestern region cooperate with him, how much power did he have? Lin Wuhua felt that Su Xiaolan was right. She really was blind. She looked at Gao Peng, who was about to go crazy, and then looked at Lin, who was chatting and laughing with the crowd in the middle of the ball. Regret surged in her heart. But in the end, she could only sigh helplessly, because if she had to make a choice again without knowing the truth, she would probably still make the same choice. Chapter 55. The purpose of this ball was to let Lin and the others familiarize themselves with the celebrities from all over the Southwest, which would make things easier in the future. Lin and the others couldn't divulge the specifics of their mission. Only Mayor Qin, Zheng Hongyi, and Department Director Zhou Zheng knew the gist of the mission. Thus, they could only converse with the rest of the people here. Soon, they felt a little bored and found a table to sit down at. These complicated interactions were left to Huang Shanshan and Zheng Hongyi to handle. As soon as Su Xiaolan and Xianyuan Cheng sat down, they took out their phones and started playing with them. The temptation of phones wasn't just for humans. Even cultivators would be addicted to the rich variety of functions inside. Su Xiaolan was excitedly browsing through Jingdong and Taobao. The girl's shopping instincts were burning. Xianyuan Cheng was using his phone to search for all kinds of cutting-edge electronic products, advanced mechanical products, and even military weapons of various countries. Whether it was theoretical knowledge or construction models, they were all within the scope of his research. He looked like a top student in science and technology. And Lin heaved a forlorn sigh upon seeing this. Others came to the ball to socialize and dance. But you guys were playing with your phones just a moment ago. We were still acting like we were the heavens. We were the ones who shocked the entire audience. Although we're now behind the scenes, we still have to act like we're the best, right? Browsing Taobao, looking at blueprints. Is this really normal? And Lin sighed. Then he took out his phone and started playing Arena of Valor. He chose Zhuge Liang. Compared to Li Bai, who was a hero who was good at picking up girls, he preferred Zhuge Liang, who was agile, handsome, and adaptable. Some of the daughters of famous families at the ball began to have feelings for Enlin when he was in the limelight. They couldn't help but steal glances at him. Some of the girls finally mustered up the courage to invite him for a dance, only to find that he was sitting on a chair and playing with his phone. "What is young master in playing?" A pretty girl secretly asked her female companion next to her. "It's too far. I can't see clearly. However, I feel that every single move of a mighty figure like young master and must have a profound meaning behind it. It's best if we don't disturb him," his female companion said solemnly. "That's true. It looks like he's really busy." Sigh. What a pity. The woman sighed and gave up on the idea of hitting on him. At that moment, Enlin, who was in high spirits, had yet to realize that playing games could ruin his life. His battle had already entered a white-hot stage. The defense towers of both sides had been destroyed, and only the last big crystal was left. In the 5v5 team battle, 4 of the enemies and their teammates had died. Only Enlin's Zhuge Liang and the enemy's Han Xin were still alive. The outcome of this battle would directly determine the outcome of the entire competition. Zhuge Liang and Han Xin both had a quarter of their HP left. And Lin wanted to pull away from Han Xin and wait for 8 seconds. When Zhuge Liang's ultimate move was ready, he would instantly kill Han Xin. However, he had still underestimated Han Xion's mobility. Han Xin leaped to the front of Zhuge Liang and flicked his spear, followed by a series of rapid and violent moves. Zhuge Liang's HP was low, and he was caught off guard. "Idiot! Can't you just teleport to Han Xin and use Easterly Strike? Why do you have to wait for the primordial bomb?" Just as Enlin's Zhuge Liang was killed by Han Xin, a crisp voice sounded in his ear. Enlin raised his head to find an adorable girl with short chestnut-colored hair staring at his phone screen and giving him pointers. Of course, he knew that this girl was right. However, as a grown man, he felt a little embarrassed to be scolded by a girl. He immediately said with slight annoyance, "Where did this little brat come from? Go play somewhere else." "Me? Little brat?" The girl pointed at her face, her bright eyes widened, and her chest rose and fell violently. Oh no, she didn't have breasts. And Lin also knew that it was impolite to speak like this, so he changed the way he said, "Where did this little lowly come from? Go find your parents." When the girl heard Lin's words, her chest immediately tightened. She was very angry, and she raised her voice and said angrily, "Listen up, I'm 18 years old this year. I'm already an adult." And Lin looked at the girl's petite body and blinked. The pink evening dress on her, even though it was a small size, still looked loose, revealing her crystal white shoulders. The dress had a low collar, but even so, her chest still looked very flat. "Okay, I believe you." And Lin nodded. When the girl heard Lin's words, she had just revealed a satisfied expression, but she was so angry at Lin's next words that she almost fainted. "You're a legal lowly. Are you satisfied now?" And Lin added, "Satisfied? Satisfy my ass. Will you die if you don't say the next sentence?" The girl felt that if she continued to talk to Lin like this, she might actually vomit blood. She immediately chose to go straight to the point. "Hello, my name is Tian Lingling. Big Sister Shan Shan recommended me to help you carry out your mission." "Oh, hello, my name is Lin." A hint of disappointment flashed across Lin's face. He had thought that this girl was attracted by his handsome figure when he was playing the game. Now it looked like he was overthinking things. And Lin stopped Su Xiaolan and Xin Yuan Chung from playing with their phones and introduced Tian Lingling to them. Huang Shanshan belonged to the National Special Operations Department, which was a military force, while Tian Lingling represented the Hua Nation's cultivation world. Both of these forces would assist Lin and the others in carrying out their mission. The guest that Huang Shanshan and Zheng Hongyi had gone out to greet earlier was Tian Lingling. Tian Lingling had reached the 8th-stage Dao body at the age of 18, which made her a prodigy even in the kingdom of the 9 states. On Earth, Her aptitude was even more top-notch, so she didn't hold back or be polite to Enlin and the others. Enlin didn't mind, of course. What was the point of bickering with a brat? Hey, Enlin, dance with me. Tian Lingling blinked her bright eyes at him and spoke with great anticipation. You? Enlin looked Tian Lingling up and down, and an almost imperceptible hint of disdain appeared on his face. I refuse. What a joke. Asking him to dance with a little lowly at a ball. What a weird scene. He would be mistaken for a weird uncle. Tian Lingling stomped her foot in anger at Enlin's straightforward refusal. After a long while, she calmed down and continued, Hey, Enlin, do you have WeChat? I do. I'm not a caveman. Of course I don't have WeChat. Enlin pursed his lips. Tian Lingling chuckled, then pulled out her phone and opened the QR code. Her purpose was self-evident. Enlin didn't mind adding her on WeChat. It would be easier for him to contact her in the future, so he cooperated and added Tian Lingling as a friend. Beep, beep, beep. A message came from Enlin's WeChat. It was a smiley face from Tian Lingling. He looked up at Tian Lingling and also sent her a smiley face. Enlin was a little speechless. Was texting each other on their phones a new way of playing in the mortal world? Beep, beep, beep. Another message came from WeChat. Tian Lingling invites you to join the All Cultivators of the World Unite to Protect Earth group. Enlin's eyes widened when he saw the name of the group, and he turned to look at Tian Lingling. Tian Lingling explained with a smile, This is the top cultivator group of the Hua Nation, and it's also your support team for this mission. Enlin was still dumbstruck. What a weird group name. Was it really a group created by cultivators? All cultivators of the world unite to protect Earth? Did they think they were Ultraman? Enlin was a little speechless, but he still joined the group. However, he soon felt like he had joined a fake cultivator group. Chapter 56. System Notification. Fake Taoist priest Little and has joined the group. However, this group seemed to be talking about something explosive, and the news of Enlin joining the group was immediately pushed away. Enlin was happy to be invisible, and he began to observe the group with interest. Taoist Wooden Ox. I don't believe that the next double-colored ball will be this number. Crack Shot Clairvoyant. It's up to you whether you want to believe it or not. These types of dream divinations are so accurate that even I'm scared of them. I've been staring at lottery tickets every night, and I've only dreamt of double-colored ball after so long. I've already bought 100 bets, and I'm going to empty the prize pool. Enlin, Dreamy Voice Fairy. You don't say. Crackshot Clairvoyant's dream divinations are indeed very accurate. Last time, he dreamt that he went to the East Sea, encountered an earthquake, and was drowned by a tsunami. He was so scared that he wet his bed. A few days later, there really was a magnitude 9 earthquake and tsunami off the coast of Japan. At least Crackshot Clairvoyant gave Wooden Ox a chance to buy 10 bets. What kind of person would say no to money? Crackshot Clairvoyant. Hey, even if you're praising me, don't use my dark history of wetting my bed as an example. Atomic Bomb Fairy sent a smiley emoji. Your master was the one who exposed your bedwetting history. It's not a secret, and everyone in the group knows about it. What's there to be shy about? Enlin, everyone knows about it. I don't know about it. Do immortals wet their bed too? Even if they wet their bed from fear. That's too unreliable. Crackshot Clairvoyant, forget it. Taoist Wooden Ox doesn't want it. I'll give this chance to the Savior. At the Savior, are you there? Golden Jade. The Savior went to America to steal cutting-edge military technology. He's not free. Crackshot Clairvoyant sent a horrified emoji. The last time he went to the United States, he secretly tampered with their nuclear missile launch program and added a formation to the nuclear missile silo. What was he trying to do this time? Golden Jade sent a smiley emoji. I don't know. Some of the cultivators in the group sent emojis of cold sweat, while others sent emojis of laughter. As for Enlin, he was completely dumbfounded. Tampering with a nuclear launcher's program, adding an array to a nuclear missile silo, stealing the most advanced military technology. F*CK. Are these cultivators really here to protect the Earth? Are they really not here to destroy the Earth together? Enlin felt like he had entered a fake cultivator group. He silently moved his hand to the Leave This Group button. At this moment, a message suddenly popped up in the group. Tian Lingling. Let's stop chatting and welcome our new group member, Fake Taoist Priest Littlin. Dreamy Voice Fairy. Oh, I just saw the news of him joining the group, but I didn't get the chance to ask. May I ask which sect this new fellow Taoist is from? Those who were able to enter the chat group of the top cultivators in China were not weak. That was why Dreamy Voice Fairy asked such a question. Since someone in the group had asked him a question, and Lin naturally had to reply. Fake Taoist Priest Littlin. If it's a sect, does the Celestial Court count? Dreamy Voice Fairy. Crack Shot Clairvoyant. Taoist Wooden Ox. Atomic Bomb Fairy. Golden Jade, who had always been concise, couldn't help but ask, could it be that fellow Taoist is from the Celestial Court? Fake Taoist Priest Littlin. That's right. Crack Shot Clairvoyant. Holy F***CK. The Immortal Ambassador is here. He then seemed to realize something and immediately corrected himself. Oh, wait. Welcome to our group, Immortal Ambassador. Dreamy Voice Fairy. Welcome, Immortal Ambassador. Atomic Bomb Fairy. Welcome, Immortal Ambassador. Golden Jade. Welcome, Immortal Ambassador. Enlightened Lazarite. Welcome, Immortal Ambassador. Countless lurking group members began to appear in formation to begin the welcoming ceremony. There were over 100 cultivators in this chat group, and at this moment, almost half of them were exposed by the explosion. The others were probably in seclusion or doing something else, so they didn't appear. And Lin was startled by the enthusiasm of the group members. Cultivators from the Celestial Court often descended to the mortal world to carry out missions, and it was not uncommon for them to communicate with cultivators from the Huan Nation military in the mortal world. Were they always this enthusiastic? What he didn't know was that Tian Lingling had invited him into the group on a whim. In the past, cultivators dispatched by the Celestial Court either didn't like to use WeChat or felt that there was no need to rely on the power of cultivators from the mortal world, so they very rarely joined the group. There hadn't been a single person invited into the group, like in Lin every year. Enlightened Lazarite. May I know your Taoist name? Although many cultivators in the group used Taoist names as nicknames, this fake Taoist priest and clearly wasn't a Taoist name. And Lin blinked. He really hadn't considered the issue of a Taoist name before. Fake Taoist priest and I don't have a Taoist name, just call me Lin. Crackshot Clairvoyant. No problem, no problem. Seniorin, this is your first time in the mortal world, right? If there's anything you don't understand, feel free to ask us. We'll be sure to answer your questions patiently. All of the cultivators in the group nodded in agreement, clearly regarding Lin as a transcendent immortal. Fake Taoist priest and Mr. Clairvoyant, please don't call me senior. I'm only 19 years old. I've actually lived in a mortal world for over 18 years already, and I only recently went to the Celestial Court to study. Everyone in the group was astonished to hear this. Enlightened Lazarite. This is the first time I've heard of a mortal cultivator who went to the Celestial Court to study. Crack Shot Clairvoyant. And who would have thought that Mr. Lin would be so young? He's truly a heroic youth. Those who could become immortal ambassadors were all extremely powerful cultivators. Many of the students from Shoshin United University didn't even have the chance to descend to the mortal world even once after they graduated. From this, one could see just how high the requirement for strength was. If one were to ask why these students who couldn't descend to the mortal world still wanted to study mortal studies, wouldn't that be an unnecessary waste of time? And Lin felt like this question could be explained by the education system of the Huan Nation. Many students had studied English for over 10 years, but how many opportunities did they have to interact with foreigners? It was mostly just Huan Nation people talking to each other in English, or watching foreign language movies, or doing English tests. After all, there were only a few people who could truly put English to use. Dreamy Voice Fairy. Then where did Mr. Lin study before he went to the Celestial Court? Everyone in the group was also waiting curiously for Lin's reply. To be able to produce such a prodigy, the sect he came from must be extremely powerful. Moreover, this was a major event for the entire mortal world of cultivators. And Lin looked at the message and scratched his head in exasperation. Where did he study before he came to the Celestial Court? Professor Chun from Huaqing University? Or do I have to tell them all the teachers from kindergarten all the way to university? Clearly, this wasn't what they were asking about. Thus, Lin could only answer honestly. Fake Taoist priest little and, before I went to the Celestial Court, I hadn't even started cultivating. Haha, now that I think about it, I've only been cultivating for about half a year. And Lin was actually quite embarrassed to say this. For someone like him who had only been cultivating for half a year to be respected by so many cultivators, even with his thick skin, he still couldn't take it. However, no one paid attention to his exclamation. Everyone stared at the word, half a year. Golden Jade. If I may be so bold as to ask, what is Mr. and Lin's current cultivation base? Fake Taoist priest little in, not very high, only 9th stage Tao body. Golden Jade almost spat out a mouthful of blood onto the computer after hearing this. Not high F * King cultivation base. The group, which was bustling with activity a moment ago, suddenly became silent. All the cultivators stared blankly at the words half a year in 9th stage Tao body in the chat. Tian Lingling flung her phone away and asked excitedly to Su Xiaolan, Big Sister Lon Lon, let me ask you a question. What was in Lin's cultivation base when he came to the Celestial Court? And what is his current cultivation base? Su Xiaolan smiled. When he came, he was at the 0th stage Tao body. Now he's already at the 9th stage Tao body. He's the #1 celebrity of our Xiaoxin United University. Don't look down on him. And Lin shook his head. The main character is right here, but Tian Lingling is actually asking Su Xiaolan. Could it be that his words were so unconvincing? In contrast to Lin's exasperation, Tian Lingling was completely dumbstruck. She had cultivated for more than 10 years and had reached the 8th stage Tao body, far surpassing her peers. This made her extremely confident in her aptitude. However, Lin had only cultivated for half a year and reached the 9th stage Tao body. Tears welled up in Tian Lingling's eyes. Lin had completely destroyed all of her pride. After a long while, she trembled as she typed a message into her phone. Tian Lingling, fellow cultivators, I just asked another immortal ambassador. From her, I found out that Lin was right. He did indeed cultivate for half a year and advanced from the 0th stage Tao body to the 9th stage. Tian Lingling's words were like a bomb falling into a calm lake. The cultivators who had fallen silent after being frightened by Lin instantly exploded. Chapter 57. Crackshot Clairvoyant. Holy F * CK. It only took him half a year to go from 0 stage Tao body to 9 stage Tao body. Are we really playing the same cultivation game? Atomic Bomb Fairy. My outlook on life, cultivation, and the world has been severely impacted. I feel terrible. Calm Celestial Maiden. Big Sister. Save me. I need psychological counseling. Celestial Maiden and Exant. Little Sister Atomic Bomb. Big Sister Calm has already vomited blood and fainted after seeing this message. Atomic Bomb Fairy. Taoist Wooden Ox. Enlightened Lazarite. I feel like I'm playing an online game. After working my heart out to level 80, Mr. Lin is smiling at me with a level 99 dragon-slaying saber in his hand. Dreamy voice fairy. Hee. Luckily, I'm quick to react. I just ate 99 heart calming pills without any hesitation. I'm feeling much better now. Taoist Red WRM. I feel like a salted fish. Several dozen cultivators in the group all expressed their F * Ket-up feelings in the chat group, causing Lin's face to convulse. Tian Lingling couldn't help but feel a lot better after seeing all the cultivators in the group vomit blood. Sure enough, it's better to be happy together than to be happy alone. Apart from a few cultivators whose Tao hearts were damaged, this incident was quickly resolved. On the way to the ball, Lin also saw Lin Wuhua and Gao Peng. However, it was all over, so he wasn't going to pay attention to those two. Not long after, the ball concluded, and Lin and the others returned to the Crown Plaza Hotel to rest. Tian Lingling also tagged along this time. She stayed in the room next to Lin and the others. She was the representative of the cultivators of the mortal world, and she was responsible for assisting in Lin and the others in carrying out their missions. If they wanted to mobilize the power of other cultivators, she could also assist them. Of course, if they wanted to mobilize the power of some powerful old geezers, a certain amount of compensation would be required. They didn't have much to do with the Celestial Court, and they were all independent individuals. No one would be so bored as to help you do something for free. There were many cultivators in the group who had a high level of awareness about slaying demons and devils. They were willing to help. It was just that, firstly, their cultivations were unequal, and secondly, their mobilization was completely based on their individual awareness. There was no guarantee of their numbers and strength. And Lin thought about it and decided not to gather these forces for now. In terms of the difficulty of the mission, their team had no problem at all. In his room, he had already downloaded 1,000 Japanese romance and martial arts films. After the audit was completed, he lay on the bed, exhausted. Sigh, there are really all kinds of purchasing agents. There are even people who purchase love martial arts films. And Lin had a helpless look on his face. Looking at the shopping list in his hand, he suddenly realized how difficult it was to earn money. Some people might ask why he didn't just buy it online. In fact, this was all because of things like clothes. The seniors had a great deal of distrust towards the buyer's show. Therefore, he specified that Lin should go to a physical store to buy it. And he also had very high requirements for the color and material of the clothes. For things like technological products and jewelry, there were easily hundreds or even thousands of items. If he chose to buy it online, Lin wouldn't have to do anything all day. All he had to do was collect the deliveries, and he would be exhausted from all the running. He might as well go to a physical store and buy it all in one day. Ding dong. A new message notification suddenly appeared on his phone. And Lin unlocked his phone and found that Tian Lingling had sent him a WeChat message. Tian Lingling, fake Taoist priest. Are you free tomorrow? Come catch a ghost with me. And Lin, catch a ghost? What the hell? He remembered that he had to go shopping tomorrow, so he immediately replied, I'm not free. I still have to buy clothes tomorrow. Tian Lingling, how much time does buying clothes take? I'll go shopping with you, and after that, come catch a ghost with me. And Lin chuckled lightly. Are you sure? Tian Lingling, I'm sure. And Lin didn't say anything. Instead, he took a picture of the list of clothes he wanted to buy and sent it to Tian Lingling. Tian Lingling fell silent as she stared at the list that stretched out like a massive, winding dragon. Tian Lingling, how about this? Leave the clothes shopping to me. You know the Tianyu Corporation, right? My dad is the chairman of that corporation. I'll ask him to get someone to buy it for me, and I guarantee that it'll be ready in 2 days. Come catch a ghost with me first. Tianyu Corporation? And Lin's heart jolted upon hearing this. That was one of the top 500 corporations in the world. It was a massive corporation, and its businesses included films, music, fashion, magazines, clothing, and other industries. It was undoubtedly a giant in the entertainment industry. With Tian Lingling's backing, it really wouldn't be a problem to leave the clothes shopping to her. He was just about to agree to Tian Lingling's request when he thought about it and picked up his phone again to take pictures of the other items on the list. Snack for you too and the other students, some figurines, and some other handmade products. After taking pictures of the list, and Lin sent it to Tian Lingling. Fake Taoist priest little and help me take care of these items as well, and I'll catch a ghost with you. Pictures after pictures popped up one after another, and a series of items appeared before her eyes. There were all kinds of items, all kinds of weird requests, and it was as if they were mocking her. Tian Lingling's eyes widened as she gripped her phone. After a long time, she took a deep breath, placed her hand on her phone, and typed these words with difficulty. Tian Lingling, all right, leave it all to me. And Lin looked at Tian Lingling's reply and replied with an elated good night before putting down his phone. I'm so smart. It feels so good to get rid of all this trouble. And Lin murmured to himself with a smug expression before closing his eyes in contentment. He felt like he was going to have a very good sleep tonight. In the next room, Tian Lingling sat cross-legged on her bed. She grimaced in anger as she looked at the list of items Lin had sent over. But in the end, she could only spit out resentfully, "He really doesn't know how to take advantage of others. I'm definitely going to take advantage of him next time." If it wasn't for the fact that Uncle Lin had something to do at the last minute and couldn't find the time, who would be willing to team up with Lin, who always pissed her off? Tian Lingling's petite face was full of grievance. She lay on the bed listlessly, like a salted fish. She felt like she was going to have a very bad sleep tonight. The moon set and the sun rose. Soon, it was the morning of the next day. Knock, knock, knock. Tian Lingling knocked on the door right on time. Lin opened the door and saw Tian Lingling dressed in pink sportswear. She was petite, adorable, and full of energy. "Good morning, fake Taoist priest," Tian Lingling greeted as soon as she entered the room. "Good morning, little lowly." Lin didn't back down and immediately replied. Tian Lingling felt another wave of anger when she heard this. She felt like she couldn't take advantage of Lin at all. She handed a document to Lin. On it was written some information on the ghost-catching mission. Lin flipped through these documents and gained a basic understanding of the case. Recently, a few strange death cases had occurred in Huangshi village of Rong City. In these cases, the deceased all had dark skin and their eyeballs had been gouged out, leaving behind only a bloody hole. Moreover, their expressions were fearful and sinister. It was clear that they had been frightened by something. 11 people had died in these cases. The head of the Provincial Public Security Department, Zhou Zheng, had personally taken charge of investigating these cases. However, he hadn't made any progress. Instead, he discovered some things that didn't make sense. For example, strange noises could be heard at night in Huangshi village. For example, the air was often filled with an unexplainable black gas, causing the villagers to be on tenterhooks. Zhou Zheng had come into contact with these kinds of cases before. He knew that these things were probably not something he could handle. Thus, he reported it to the central government. The National Special Operations Department couldn't spare any manpower to handle it. Thus, he requested the cooperation of the Huan Nation cultivators. Taoist priest Lin Yi and Tian Lingling of Mount Longhu accepted the request. Unexpectedly, something happened in Tibet recently. Taoist priest Lin Yi was temporarily unable to find the time, and this matter couldn't be delayed. Just like that, after many twists and turns, it became the team of Tian Lingling and Lin. Looking at the report, the preliminary assessment was that this incident could have been caused by a soldier-level ghost or a general-level ghost. In other words, the enemy could be between the 5th stage Dao body to the 10th stage Dao body. To Lin, this was still within the scope of what he could handle. Thus, he put away the documents and smiled at Tian Lingling. "Let's go, we're going to Huangshi village." Chapter 58. Huangshi village was a small village that was relatively remote from Rong City. It was located in the middle of a mountain stream, and there was only one narrow road leading in and out of the village. There were only a few hundred villagers. Ever since the recent strange murders, the people in the village were now in a state of panic. Even though the relevant government departments had already blocked the news, how could the sudden deaths of more than 10 people be kept a secret from the people in the village? There were even many people who had witnessed the tragic deaths of the villagers with their own eyes, and they couldn't even sleep well. The government had adopted a series of comforting policies, but it didn't have much of an effect. Panic still spread through the village, and some villagers were even so scared that they fled the village. The road into the village was too narrow, and cars couldn't enter. At the entrance of the village, Lin and Tian Lingling got out of the car and started walking. They followed a clear stream, and after walking for a kilometer, they finally saw a few houses. Just from the environment alone, the village was backed by green mountains and surrounded by clear water. The scenery was extremely pleasant, and anyone who stayed here would feel at ease. However, after the murders, the faces of the villagers were all shrouded in a layer of gloom, and even the atmosphere in the village became oppressive and heavy. Village Chief Wang Dong was in charge of receiving Lin and Tian Lingling. The head of the Provincial Public Security Department, Zhou Zheng, had already greeted Wang Dong. Wang Dong knew that the two people who had just arrived with a special personnel assigned to handle the murders in this village. Thus, he personally went to greet them, not daring to be negligent. Wang Dong was a middle-aged man in his 50s, but his body was still somewhat robust. He stood guard at the entrance of the village, and when he saw that the special personnel were a relatively young-looking man and a petite and adorable girl, he couldn't help but frown. What's going on? Why did the public security department send two seemingly powerless youngsters to handle such a major murder case? Although Wang Dong was puzzled and dissatisfied, he still dutifully greeted the two people. When Lin saw Wang Dong, he didn't waste any words and directly requested to go to the location of the murders to investigate. There were a total of 3 locations, and all of them were families. Every family died the same way. Their eyes were missing, and their vital energy dissipated. When Lin and Tian Lingling arrived at the courtyard, it was already surrounded by a police cordon. They crossed the cordon and entered. They immediately felt a chill that made their hair stand on end. Every place where the accident happened is very strange. If I didn't have to bring you here, I would have stayed as far away as possible. Wang Dong's well-built body also felt a chill as he shrunk back and said. Lin and Tian Lingling looked at each other, and they both saw a hint of surprise in each other's eyes. They walked around the yard and returned to the door. Lin, Village Chief Wang, please take us to another location. Wang Dong's eyes widened. That's it. Didn't ordinary police detectives search for clues inch by inch, ask all kinds of questions, and then slowly and carefully deduce the case? The two of them, on the other hand, strolled around the courtyard as if they were on a vacation. They didn't say anything, and in less than 5 minutes, they proposed to go somewhere else. Are they really here to solve the case and not to visit? Seeing Lin and Tian Lingling nod seriously, Wang Dong could only hide his complaints in his heart and lead them to another location with a dark expression. When they arrived at the next location, and Lin and the others finished looking around in only 5 minutes, Wang Dong expressionlessly led them to the third location. Just like that, in less than half an hour, Wang Dong took them to visit the 3 locations. Village Chief Wang, we're done looking around. We'll stay at your house for a while, and we'll go check out the locations at night. And Lin said to Wang Dong with a smile. Wang Dong. When they arrived at Wang Dong's house, his wife had already prepared a sumptuous meal for Lin and the others. And Lin and Tian Lingling ate heartily, and they were full of praise for the authentic farmhouse dishes. Lingling, this chicken is so fragrant. You only need to dip it in some ginger salt, and you'll be able to taste the rich and mellow taste of chicken. Fake Taoist priest, this water spinach is also very delicious. I've never tasted such fragrant and delicious vegetables in the city before. It's all green and pollution-free. Annie, can you cook an extra plate of water spinach? Wang Dong's face convulsed as he heard their conversation. He felt like he had brought a bunch of fake police officers to solve the case. What the F***CK? Did these two come to his house to freeload? If it weren't for the fact that they both showed their identification cards, Wang Dong would have chased them out long ago. Village Chief Wang's wife, on the other hand, smiled happily. She was very happy that the police officers approved of her dishes. Before they knew it, night had already fallen, and Lin and Tian Lingling walked out of Village Chief Wang's house again. This time, they didn't let Village Chief Wang follow them. There were very few street lights on the village roads, and they walked along the dim path, surveying their surroundings cautiously. That cold and sinister aura is a characteristic of the evil spirit's attacks. It lingered at the scene of the accident for a long time, so it's clear that the evil spirit has already reached the general rank, Tian Lingling suddenly said. One cold and sinister aura is ferocious and ruthless, while the other aura is obscure and fatal. There are 2 general rank evil spirits, and Lin added. Hearing this, a hint of worry appeared on Tian Lingling's delicate face. Judging from the location of the crime, the evil spirit's attacks are random, she said. Our patrol area will probably have to cover the entire Huangshi village. And Lin continued, I heard that strange noises can be heard at night. We can use that as a breakthrough point. Due to the murders in Huangshi village, the villagers didn't dare to go out at night. The small path in the village was completely silent, and the only sound that could be heard was in Lin and Tian Lingling's footsteps. Their feet made a sha-sha sound as they stepped on the ground, and it was especially clear. A chilly wind suddenly blew over. Tian Lingling shivered, and she couldn't help but tug on the corner of Lin's shirt. Lin noticed her movements, and he looked at her with a strange expression. "Are you cold?" he asked. Tian Lingling's pretty face blushed slightly, and she nodded her head, her voice as soft as a mosquito's. Lin shrugged. "But I'm only wearing one shirt right now, so don't expect me to take off a jacket for you to wear like in the TV dramas." Tian Lingling rolled her eyes. "I don't care about your jacket. Even if you do have one, I won't wear it." Lin ignored her and continued walking forward. Tian Lingling was so frightened that she hurriedly followed after him. The darkness of the night shrouded Lin in a dark shadow. Tian Lingling felt that the surrounding environment was a bit creepy, something that couldn't be experienced during the day. She couldn't help but continue to talk, because only by talking could she alleviate some of her fear. "Fake Taoist priest, do you think we can beat 2 general rank evil spirits?" Tian Lingling asked. The man in front of her replied slowly, "We can't beat them." Hearing this, Tian Lingling was startled. "Why? Didn't you say that you're a powerful cultivator on the immortal rankings board, and that taking care of general rank evil spirits was a piece of cake?" A bone-chilling wind blew over, and the surrounding leaves rustled in the wind. "Because," and Lin slowly turned around and stared at Tian Lingling. His eyes bulged, and he stuck out his tongue. "I already—" "Wah!" Tian Lingling sat down on the ground and yelled. She had been scared to tears. Chapter 59. And Lin was slightly taken aback as he looked at Tian Lingling, who was sitting on the ground and crying. "Oi, I was just joking. Why are you so easily scared? You still dare to accept a ghost-hunting mission with this kind of mental fortitude?" he asked in astonishment. Tian Lingling raised her head and saw that Lin was fine. A resentful expression appeared on her tear-stained face, and she threw herself into his arms and hammered his chest with her little fists. "Wah, big jerk! How can you bully me like this?" Tian Lingling cried and beat him. Puff. She sobered up and wiped her snot on Lin's shirt before continuing to beat and scold him. And Lin grimaced, and he really wanted to say, "You're using my shirt to make snot paper. Isn't that bullying?" However, he managed to restrain himself in the end. After all, he was in the wrong in the first place and had gone a little too far with the joke. Just as Tian Lingling was venting, and Lin seemed to hear the sound of crying coming from another direction. "Wah!" He patted Tian Lingling's back and said, "Listen, there seems to be a ghost crying with you from another direction." Tian Lingling's petite body trembled slightly, and she immediately came to a realization. "Big jerk, you're lying me again." And Lin, as the sound of crying became louder and louder, Tian Lingling finally sensed that something was wrong. Her hair stood on end, and she looked fearfully toward the direction of the crying. "Oi, you're saying that there's really a ghost in that direction? Why is it crying with me?" Her voice was trembling as she asked, and Lin was exasperated. "How would I know? Ask it if you're so capable." Tian Lingling recoiled upon hearing this, and her fear and horror were written all over her face. And Lin sighed softly. If he hadn't come on this mission, perhaps Tian Lingling wouldn't even have been able to see the ghost and would have been scared away by it. He walked toward the direction of the strange sound, and Tian Lingling followed closely behind him, holding a yellow talisman in her hand. The sound of crying became louder and louder, and finally, it seemed to be lingering in their ears. They looked left and right, but did not find any suspicious traces. "Where is it?" Suddenly, and Lin felt a chill envelop his entire body. "Are you looking for me?" A hoarse voice was heard. Then a white-clothed figure suddenly hung upside down in front of Lin. She had no nose or mouth. Her 2 eyeballs were connected by a foot-long piece of red flesh. They dangled outside and stared at Lin. "Holy sh*T. And Lin was startled, and without hesitation, he unleashed a mountain-quaking fist. Rumble! The golden fist enveloped the white-robed figure and exploded with astonishing energy. Ah! The white-robed evil spirit was caught off guard and was sent flying more than 10 meters away by the golden fist. He fell to the ground, trembling. Tian Lingling didn't even have a chance to yell before the evil ghost was sent flying by a single punch. Her gaping mouth was unable to open, and she could only stammer, so powerful, and Lin ignored Tian Lingling. Instead, he curiously ran toward the evil ghost. His mountain-quaking fist was very powerful. Even a general-level evil spirit would be crippled on the ground after taking a direct hit from it. Huh, its body has become semi-transparent. Is it about to die? And Lin walked toward the evil ghost and asked curiously. That's right. Hurry up and use that immortal spell again to finish it off. Tian Lingling hid behind Lin and looked at the evil ghost on the ground fearfully. There's no rush. This is the first time I've seen a ghost in my entire life. I have to study it carefully. And Lin was excited and looked at the evil ghost on the ground with malicious intent. The white-robed evil ghost's eyes widened when it heard this. Oh, its eyes had always been wide open, and this expression had never changed. However, its eyes, which were connected by flesh and blood, suddenly flew toward Lin. Holy sh*T, it can still move. Half of the mountain quaking fist. Lin was greatly alarmed upon seeing this, and he unleashed another mountain quaking fist. Boom! The ground caved in from the fist, and the evil ghost's body was flattened. Wah! The white-robed evil ghost screamed hoarsely, and its body became even more transparent. And Lin picked up a branch and poked at the evil ghost's long eyes. Like a coiled snake, he rolled up the eyes and the flesh and blood that spurted out. Yuck, so disgusting. Tian Lingling couldn't bear to watch anymore. How magical. This transparent body feels so real when I poked it with a branch. And Lin exclaimed. The white-robed evil ghost's body was limp and weak. Its eyes widened. Wah-huh? It doesn't have a mouth, so how can it make sounds? And Lin was curious. Then, he poked at the evil ghost's mouth with the branch. It was white. The branch was poked there, but it caved in like a balloon. Interesting. And Lin was amused. He didn't expect ghosts to be so magical. Wah! The white-robed evil ghost screamed weakly. And Lin shook his head in disappointment. Why is there only one line? Can't you say something else? Then he shifted his gaze to the evil ghost's bulging chest and poked at it with the branch curiously. Is this real? Sob, sob, sob. The white-clothed evil ghost's round eyes were filled with sparkling tears. Ah, why are you so perverted? Tian Lingling screamed at Lin's actions. She raised her hand and threw out an evil warding talisman. Boom! A golden pillar of light fell from the sky and struck the white-robed evil ghost's body. It was the last straw that broke the camel's back. The white-robed evil ghost's body dissipated in the golden pillar of light. Its cries drifted away with the wind and finally disappeared into the horizon. Why did you kill it? Lin looked at the young girl behind him with dissatisfaction. When it's time to fight, you're like a little squirrel. When it's time to be gentle, you're like a tigress. Tian Lingling's face was as red as a ripe apple. But you wanted to be a pervert just then. I can't let you commit a crime, and Lin's lips twitched. So, researching evil ghosts turned her into a pervert? What did she think of? Just as he was lamenting over the fact that he didn't have a research subject, he suddenly raised his eyebrows and punched behind him. Boom! A distorted black figure was knocked back and then disappeared into the darkness. 5 streaks of black mist rushed toward Lin and the others with mournful cries. Tian Lingling pulled out a talisman and threw it toward the mist. The talisman glowed brightly and condensed into 6 golden sword projections, which transformed into streaks of light that slashed toward the black mist. The golden sword radiance seemed to have a strong restraining effect on the black mist. Once it struck the black mist, it was like water meeting raging fire, instantly dissipating into nothingness. After dispersing the mist, the last golden sword projection shot toward the distorted figure that had just attacked Lin and disappeared into the darkness. and Lin's eyes lit up. He ran toward the last golden sword projection and yelled, "Hurry up! Don't let it get away. I'm going to capture it alive this time and do some research on it." In the darkness, the distorted figure heard these words and ran even faster. Chapter 60. Where do you think you're going, monster? And Lin burst forth with astonishing speed and punched toward the general-level evil spirit that had just knocked the golden sword projection away. Unexpectedly, the evil spirit's body was extremely nimble, and like a mudfish, it twisted to an angle and evaded his punch. The evil spirit's body was pitch black and viscous, and under the night sky, it looked like a piece of black cloth fluttering in the wind. As soon as Enlin approached it, he felt an extremely strong negative emotion. It was a kind of mental energy that was released from a mixture of chaos, fear, pain, and despair. Shrill cries filled the air. Not only was it ear-piercing, but it also seemed to resonate with the mind, giving rise to all kinds of negative emotions. The evil spirit's body suddenly twisted violently, and immediately afterward, 10 pitch-black ghostly claws began to extend, tearing toward Enlin's body. Mountain quaking fist. Enlin smashed his fist forward, and a golden fist of 10 feet surged forth with vast power. The pitch-black ghostly claws were shattered by the mountain quaking fist, and the fist continued to advance. The evil spirit took advantage of the pause in the fist to twist its body again, evading the powerful attack, and then continued to flee. Tian Lingling, is there any way to restrain this evil spirit? Enlin shouted to the young girl behind him. Without needing Enlin's reminder, she already had a talisman between her fingers, and she looked at the fleeing evil spirit and muttered something. 4 spirit soul-locking chains activate. In an instant, the talisman glowed brightly, and 4 golden chains coiled toward the evil spirit like spirit snakes. Even though this general-level evil spirit was nimble, it was still unable to evade the golden chain's pursuit. The 4 chains instantly bound its body. The soul-locking chains won't last long. Hurry up. Tian Lingling saw that the talisman in her hand was starting to spontaneously combust, and she couldn't help but say urgently. The evil spirit let out an even more shrill cry, and energy began to erupt from its body in an attempt to break free. However, before it could break free from the chains, a gigantic golden fist came flying toward it. Boom! Pure energy exploded, and the evil spirit's body exploded. A black, twisted object lay on the ground, wriggling continuously. This thing was very strange, and Enlin was afraid that there would be variables if he didn't handle it well, so he didn't have the mood to continue studying it. Just like that, he launched another mountain quaking fist at the evil spirit on the ground. Boom! The entire ground caved in from the mountain quaking fist. The evil ghost's twisted body was also shattered by the powerful energy carried by the fist, and finally dissipated. After the 2 general-level evil spirits were eliminated, the Huangshi village case was concluded. After the 2 general-level malevolent spirits were destroyed, the case of Huangshi village was considered to have come to an end. At this moment, a bundle of snow-white spider silk appeared in the center. It appeared from the evil spirit's body after it was eliminated. However, Enlin clearly didn't notice this bundle of spider silk. You, Enlin, I. Look down quickly. Don't you see such a big bundle of spider silk? Right at this moment, a petite and adorable young girl ran to Enlin's side. The man in the black robe looked at the scene in front of him with excitement. The man is blind, but the girl should be able to see it. Immediately afterward, the young girl and the man started chatting happily, completely ignoring the pit. The man in the black robe felt a tightness in his chest. Are they both blind? Monsters always drop equipment. After a general-level evil spirit dies, why don't they check to see if there's anything left behind? Tian Lingling pulled out another talisman with a smile. Earth-leveling technique. Rumble, mud, and rocks surged from the ground. Immediately afterward, the huge pit created by Enlin was filled up together with the snow-white spider silk. They were buried alive in the ground. Fake Taoist priest, don't forget to clean up after completing the mission. Otherwise, the villagers will be scared to death when they find such a huge pit on the road. Tian Lingling raised her brows in a mature manner. Enlin didn't retort. Instead, he gave her a thumbs up. Well done. The man in the black robe almost vomited blood. F***CK. You only remember to clean up after cleaning up, but you don't remember to pick up equipment? No. I finally lured out a cultivator from the cultivation world. I can't fail the mission just like this. It looks like if I want to salvage this situation, I, the Demon King of Wisdom, have to do it myself. The black-robed Demon King of Wisdom suppressed his aura to that of a 10th stage Tao body and started walking out slowly. Since we're done here, let's go back. Enlin patted Tian Lingling's shoulder and started to leave. Right at this moment, an angry roar suddenly sounded. Wait, if you want to escape, have you asked the Demon King of Wisdom? Enlin and Tian Lingling turned at the same time and saw a man in a black robe with crimson eyes glaring at them angrily. There's actually an enemy. Is this the mastermind? The two of them felt the powerful aura of the Demon King of Wisdom, and their expressions became solemn. Tian Lingling held the talisman in her hand, while Enlin prepared his mountain-quaking fist. Seeing the expressions of the two people in front of him, the Demon King of Wisdom was very satisfied. He slammed the ground with one hand. Boom! The ground that had just been flattened cracked open with a loud rumble. A bundle of snow-white spider silk shot out of the ground and flew into his hand. How dare you? You actually dared to kill two of my beloved generals, and even tried to use soil to hide this bundle of extremely important snow, king spider silk. The Demon King of Wisdom said angrily. Enlin and Tian Lingling looked at each other in bewilderment. So there was such a thing at the bottom of this pit, and he even hid snow, king spider silk. If he didn't tell us, we wouldn't have known at all. Is there something wrong with this Demon King of Wisdom's brain? The Demon King of Wisdom discovered that there was actually a trace of pity in the eyes of Enlin and the others. He felt a little uneasy. Could it be that he had been seen through? That didn't make sense. His acting skills were clearly so exquisite. I definitely won't let you off easily. Hand over your lives. The Demon King of Wisdom waved his hand, and a huge black palm whistled toward Enlin. Enlin didn't dare to underestimate him. He immediately used his mountain-quaking fist with all his might. The golden fist broke through the huge black palm and directly smashed into the Demon King of Wisdom. Pffwa. The Demon King of Wisdom spat out a mouthful of black blood. The Snow King Spider silk fell to the ground as he stumbled back. If it weren't for the fact that I've yet to recover from my injuries, how would I have let you guys take advantage of me? The next time we meet, I'll definitely make you wish you were dead. The Demon King of Wisdom spat out these vicious words and then fled into the distance. His speed was so fast that Enlin and the others immediately gave up on pursuing him. He ran away just like that. Enlin was a little dumbfounded. Wasn't he so arrogant just a moment ago? Why couldn't he even withstand a single mountain-quaking fist? Where was his dignity as a boss? Tian Lingling frowned slightly and said uneasily, I keep feeling that there's something wrong with that Demon King of Wisdom. Thinking of that man's extremely exaggerated expression, Enlin also nodded in agreement. Then, the two of them looked cautiously at the sparkling white spider silk on the ground. Within a mystic realm in the Kunlun Mountains, this place was filled with jagged rocks of strange shapes and was enshrouded in rainbow-colored mist. In the depths of the mystic realm, there was an extremely vast cave abode rich in vital energy. Here, there was a golden supreme throne, 6 thrones, and over 100 black-robed men. On the golden supreme throne, a tall figure shrouded in black mist was looking down at a red-eyed man who was half kneeling on the ground. Wisdom, how did it go? The tall figure asked in a hoarse voice. Demon Emperor, please rest assured. Although there was a small accident during the mission, with my flawless acting skills, everything went smoothly, the red-eyed man said confidently. The Demon Emperor nodded approvingly. Very good. Now, the revival of our demon race is coming. Chapter 61. After dealing with two general rank evil spirits and beating back a demon king of unknown strength, the Huangshi village incident could be considered to have been preliminarily resolved. The next morning, when the villagers of Huangshi village woke up, they all felt their bodies relax. The air they breathed when they went outside seemed to have become much fresher. Village chief Wang Dong also felt this way. He felt as if his entire body had become relaxed. The case clearly hadn't been solved yet. Why did he feel this way? For some reason, he thought of Enlin and Tian Lingling. He recalled that the young girl seemed to have referred to the man as fake Taoist priest. Weren't Taoist priests supposed to vanquish demons? Thinking back to their actions last night, Village Chief Wang couldn't help but have a guess. These cases are strange to begin with. Could it really be the work of ghosts and monsters? Were those two sent by the government to capture ghosts? Otherwise, why would they act so strangely? This guess was very absurd, but Wang Dong was unable to erase this thought from his mind. Unfortunately, Enlin and Tian Lingling had already left Huangshi village, so his guess was nothing more than a guess. Tian Lingling reported the results of the mission to the National Special Operations Department. They didn't need to worry about wrapping things up after this, as the relevant departments of the state would handle it. After returning to the hotel, Enlin called over Huang Shanshan, Su Xiaolan, and Xin Yuancheng. The five of them gathered around a table and carefully examined a thick bundle of spider silk placed on top of the table. That's right, this bundle of spider silk is indeed the Snow King spider silk. It can attach itself to ghosts and absorb the vitality of humans through ghosts, Huang Shanshan said with certainty as she fiddled with the spider silk. The Snow King spider silk is unique to the demon King Hundred-Eyed Spider. It's a huge monster that has been wanted by our cultivation world for a long time. And this time, apart from reinforcing the seal of the demon sealing tower, we also have a mission to annihilate the Demon King. Then isn't the Demon King we have to annihilate this hundred-eyed spider? Tian Lingling's eyes lit up as she spoke. The hundred-eyed spider is a monster king that often appears near the demon sealing tower. It has been eyeing the tower for a long time, but because of its elusiveness, it is difficult for us cultivators to kill it. Now that we have this bundle of spider silk, we can track the location of the hundred-eyed spider through its aura. Huang Shanshan said with some excitement. Xin Yuancheng looked at the spider silk on the table with a doubtful expression. If that's the case, then the Demon King of Wisdom who suddenly appeared is in cahoots with the hundred-eyed spider? His appearance was strange. If it weren't for him, Enlin probably wouldn't even be able to see the face of this spider silk. I feel that this Demon King wants to borrow our hands to get rid of this hundred-eyed spider. At this moment, Su Xiaolan also added, or else this is a trap. He wants to lure us to the hundred-eyed spider's side, and then use this opportunity to get rid of us. Enlin thought of the Demon King of Wisdom's slightly exaggerated expression and nodded in agreement. There's indeed a problem here. Our identities as immortal ambassadors haven't been exposed. If that Demon King is setting up a trap, then it should be targeting the cultivators of our country. The Demon King of Wisdom never would have thought that his acting would attract so much suspicion. It looked like he would definitely win the Golden Raspberry Award in the entertainment industry. Thus, after a round of discussion, everyone reached a consensus. Although capturing the Demon King Hundred-Eyed Spider was dangerous, it was also a rare opportunity. They couldn't let go of this opportunity. Thus, in order to ensure their safety, they decided to seek outside help. Just like that, Enlin once again opened the All the Cultivators of the World Unite to Protect Earth group chat. Fake Taoist priest little in hello everyone. Taoist Woodnox. Taoist in long time no see. Enlin's mouth twitched when he saw this. How long? It's clearly only been 2 days. Only someone like Taoist Woodnox, who would feel uncomfortable if he didn't chat every day, would feel that it had been a long time. Enlightened Lazarite. Taoist and why did you come to the group chat? Why don't you say it out loud? Enlin liked this type of person who is so open-minded and easy to talk to. Fake Taoist priest little and, there's actually something that I need everyone's help with. It's related to the mission I'm carrying out this time. Dreamy voice fairy. Tell us, Taoistan, what kind of trouble have you encountered? After dreamy voice fairy spoke, a few more cultivators appeared in the group chat. It was clear that they were all quite interested in what Enlin was going to say next. Enlin breathed a sigh of relief when he saw the reactions in the group chat. It looked like the seniors in this group were all quite enthusiastic. Thus, he announced the mission of encircling and annihilating the 100-eyed Spider King demon in the group chat. He also explained in detail what had happened in Yellow Creek Village. As for the risks involved in carrying out this mission, he could only let the cultivators in the group judge for themselves. Fake Taoist priest Littlein, that's about it. I definitely can't let the seniors help me for nothing. I'll use spirit stones as a reward for all the seniors who participate in this mission. And Lin had learned from Tian Lingling that spirit stones were an extremely valuable currency in the cultivation world on Earth. Even for some of the more advanced cultivators, spirit stones were extremely tempting. After all, he was the team leader for this mission. He was still aware that he had to rely on his own strength to recruit people. Sure enough, as soon as spirit stones were mentioned, many cultivators in the group chat popped up. The atmosphere instantly became lively. Golden Jade, Taoistan, what ranks of cultivators do you need to recruit? Exterminating the Demon King wasn't something that any cultivator could participate in, especially when there were hidden dangers involved. Fake Taoist priest Little, and I need 10 cultivators of the 10th stage Tao body and as many spirit nurturing stage seniors as come. As for spirit stones, I'm not too sure about the reward. Seniors, please name a price. And Lin rubbed his storage ring guiltily. There are only 30,000 spirit stones in there, so it should be no problem, right? Tian Lingling had told him that there were only 8 spirit nurturing stage seniors in the group chat. All of them were sect leaders or elders of various large immortal sects, and were usually very busy. Thus, Enlin was able to say that he would take as many spirit nurturing stage seniors as he could. In contrast to Enlin's nervousness, Xin Yuan Cheng and Su Xiaolan were sitting off to the side, munching on sunflower seeds as they waited for news. He suddenly felt a bit regretful. Sigh, it's so hard being a team leader. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have flexed like this. Instead, he would have gathered spirit stones with these 2 tycoons. Hearing that Enlin wanted them to name a price, the group chat became even livelier. Crackshot Clairvoyant, Taoistan, I'm in the 10th stage Tao body. I'll follow you for 50 spirit stones. Enlin was slightly taken aback when he saw this message. It's so cheap to hire a cultivator of the 10th stage Tao body. 50 spirit stones? A friendship price? Right at this moment, enlightened Lazarite spoke. No. Enlin saw this and thought to himself, sure enough, there's someone objecting. Such a cheap price would arouse the dissatisfaction of other cultivators. How would other cultivators bid then? Enlightened Lazarite continued. Clairvoyant, you're screwing Taoist and over. The reward for a cultivator of the 10th stage Tao body can only be 20 spirit stones, no more. Atomic Bomb Fairy chimed in. That's right, Clairvoyant, you've gone crazy thinking about spirit stones. Dreamy Voice Fairy, 50 spirit stones. Why don't you just rob someone? Have you experienced Taoist and feelings? And Lin was dumbstruck by this development. WTF, have any of you ever experienced my feelings? I'm feeling blissful. Crackshot Clairvoyant, sorry, Taoistan, I was too greedy. 20 spirit stones is enough. I want to sign up. And Lin really wanted to say, you actually don't need to apologize. Right at this moment, the savior, who hadn't spoken for a long time, also spoke. I'm a cultivator of the spirit nurturing stage. I only need 100 spirit stones to go with Taoist and Lin and test out the new weapon I stole. And Lin's eyes widened in disbelief. Holy F***CK. 100 spirit stones is enough to hire a cultivator of the spirit nurturing stage. Green River Sword Immortal. 100 spirit stones too. Count me in. And Lin, just like that. And Lin, who originally thought he would have to spend a fortune, only spent 500 spirit stones, and successfully recruited 3 cultivators of the spirit nurturing stage and 10 cultivators of the 10th stage Tao body. He raised his head to look at the sky, his emotions extremely complex. What's wrong with this world? Is it because I have too much money, or are the cultivators of this world too poor? Chapter 62. With such a cheap appearance fee, and Lin couldn't help but want to recruit more cultivators of the 10th stage Tao body. After all, there was strength in numbers, wasn't there? However, he gave up on this idea in the end. 10 cultivators of the 10th stage Tao body and 3 cultivators of the spirit nurturing stage. This lineup was already strong enough. If the enemy was only a 100-eyed spider, then they would be able to easily beat it up. This lineup was more than enough to deal with unknown dangers. As long as an Emperor-level monster didn't appear, they would be able to escape even if they couldn't defeat it. If an Emperor-level monster appeared, then it didn't matter how many cultivators of the 10th stage Tao body they had, and Lin gave the reinforcements 2 days to prepare. 2 days later, they would gather at Rong City, then head to the Kunlun Mountains together. Tian Lingling, Su Xiaolan, and the others were very satisfied with the results of the recruitment. Then, they left to do their own things. Soon, another day passed. The next day, Tian Lingling carried a few large boxes to Lin's room. And Lin was struck by a sense of bewilderment at the sight of this petite figure carrying a box that was even larger than his own body. Inside the boxes Tian Lingling carried were the items that Lin had asked her to purchase. There were several hundred items of various sizes, and Lin checked them one by one and didn't miss anything. Thus, he happily gave Tian Lingling 10 spirit stones as an extra tip for this shopping trip. When he saw Tian Lingling rolling around on the bed with 10 spirit stones in her arms, a look of bliss on her face, he couldn't help but fall into deep thought again. Could it be that the cultivators on Earth were really this poor? And Lin put all the items into his storage ring, then walked to the French windows and opened the curtains. The sky was filled with dark clouds, and it was extremely dark as far as the eye could see. Among the thick layers of clouds, the dull sound of thunder could be heard. It's thundering, it's raining, looks like we can only stay in the hotel. Tian Lingling lay on the bed, swinging her fair and well-proportioned legs as she spoke in a sweet voice. As Lin gazed at the scenery in the sky and heard the girl behind him talking about thunder, a thought suddenly occurred to him. This thought was extremely strong, and it made him make a very risky decision. On top of the building, the wind was howling and heavy rain was about to fall. Xin Yuan Cheng, Su Xiaolan, and Tian Lingling were all looking at the man up ahead with concerned expressions. Xin Yuan Cheng said seriously, "And Lin, this is a very risky decision. I advise you to reconsider." Su Xiaolan's face was full of worry as she shouted, "And Lin, why are you doing this? Can you play with your life like this? Listen to me, let's go back." Tian Lingling was extremely excited. "Fake Taoist priest, do you have more spirit stones? How about we divide the inheritance first? Since we've known each other for a while, how about giving me 10 more spirit stones?" Xiao Hong, who was lying on Su Xiaolan's shoulder, cried loudly, "Master, if you die, I won't be able to live either. Why are you dragging me down with you?" Little Red had long since left in Lin's pocket. What a joke. If it didn't leave, it would die even if Lin didn't die. In response to everyone's words, Lin turned around and smiled faintly. Then he continued to fly his kite, leaving them with a confident and carefree view of his back. Lightning flashed from time to time in the thick black clouds, and the wind blew the kite higher and higher. Lin continued to release the string, and the kite began to soar upwards. At this moment, he felt a sense of heroism fill his chest. In ancient times, there was Franklin's kite that caught lightning. Today, there was Lin's kite that attracted lightning to strike him. That's right, Lin had shown off enough, and now he was planning to get struck by lightning. Now that he had the Stage 1 Earth Lotus Supreme skill and the Divine Might technique, he only needed to learn one more cultivation method, and he would be able to advance to the 10th stage Tao body. Stage 1 Thunder Essence Cultivation Method. Condition: be struck by natural lightning formed between heaven and earth once. 10th stage Tao body. Condition: learn 3 different system-type cultivation methods. As long as he was struck by lightning once, he would be able to complete these 2 missions at the same time, killing 2 birds with 1 stone, so why not? The only problem was whether or not he could survive the heavenly thunder. His 3 clueless friends stared at Lin's actions in fear. If it wasn't for the fact that Lin had requested them to prepare a healing spell formation, they would have thought that Lin had gone mad. No, even so, they still thought that Lin had gone mad. If Franklin saw this scene, he would also think that Lin had gone mad. This wasn't sacrificing himself for science. This was courting death. The kite was made from a special metal, and the string was also made of metal. The end of the string was wrapped around Lin's hand. As long as the lightning struck the kite, the electricity would be transmitted to his body through the metal string. He raised his head to look at the sky. The terrifying power of the lightning was accumulating in the clouds, and it sent shivers down his spine. It was impossible to describe what kind of feeling this was. He didn't know when he would be struck by lightning, nor did he know what would happen to him after being struck by lightning, or whether he would die. This kind of feeling could only be described as King exciting. The kite rose higher and higher, and it drew closer and closer to the clouds. A dull rumble of thunder erupted from within the clouds, and Lin's heart rate also began to accelerate. It's coming. It's coming. It's really coming. His hands were trembling slightly. Even though he had the Earth Lotus Supreme skill, and his body was much more powerful than the average cultivator, this was divine lightning. Would he be scared of hundreds of millions of volts of lightning? Even though this power wouldn't all strike Lin, it would still be very terrifying. Just as Lin was feeling extremely nervous, a white light flashed in the sky. He was just about to see what was going on. A terrifying power instantly swept through his entire body, and boundless pain and numbness overwhelmed him. The 3 onlookers only saw a flash of lightning, and Lin was instantly blasted into the ground. The kite also began to slowly descend. Boom! At this moment, the earth-shattering boom finally began to sound. Ding dong! Level 1 Thunder Essence Cultivation Method completed. Lightning Manipulation Technique awakened. Ding dong! 3 different types of system cultivation methods learned, beginning breakthrough now. Lin's entire body was charred black, and his brain was a mess. He opened his mouth, and wisps of white smoke wafted out. Done! His eyes rolled into the back of his head as he spoke, and he fainted onto the ground with a plop. Lin! The 3 onlookers exclaimed at the same time, and they quickly ran to his side before casting a series of healing spells onto his body. After what seemed like an eternity, Lin slowly regained consciousness. What entered his sight was the face of a fat man who was staring at him from a close distance. The fat man was constantly picking his nose. Holy CK! Who are you? Lin sat up in fright as he yelled. Huh, Mr. Lin, I'm his savior from the Protect Earth group. The fat man puffed out his big belly and chuckled. Lin was dumbstruck upon hearing this. Holy CK! This guy was the savior? In his mind, a badass who could go to the United States to steal advanced technology should be a tough guy like Arnold Schwarzenegger. How could it be this fat man in front of him? As if he had understood what Lin was thinking, the fat man displayed a few ferocious punches. Don't underestimate me. I'm a nimble fatty. Lin, after getting out of bed, Lin found out from the savior that an entire day had passed since he was struck by lightning. Right now, most of the cultivators in the mortal world had already gathered at this hotel, and they were only waiting to set off for Kunlun Mountain the next day. Lin inspected his own body, and he was overjoyed to feel the immense power contained within his body. He had now successfully advanced to the 10th stage Tao body. A glint appeared in his eyes. Very good. It's time to show my true strength. Chapter 63. Kunlun Mountain was the #1 divine mountain in the Huan Nation. It stretched for over 2,000 kilometers and had an average elevation of over 5,000 meters. It had a very illustrious status in the history of the Huan Nation. The ancients even called this mountain the ancestor of the dragon's veins. However, this was only the common people's understanding of this mountain. In the eyes of cultivators, Kunlun Mountain held an even loftier status. It was the home of all gods, the pulse of this world. It was the place with the densest vital energy on Earth, and there were countless natural treasures there. Powerful cultivators cultivated here, high-ranked demons and monsters roamed the mountain, and there were also countless connate perilous realms and mystic realms. It could be said to be a place where danger and opportunity coexisted, and it had tempted countless cultivators to step into the mountains. Enlin, Su Xiaolan, Xianyuan Cheng, Tian Lingling, and Huang Shanshan arrived at Kunlun Mountain. Following the coordinates, they found the Demon Ceiling Pagoda located deep within Kunlun Mountain. As for the 13 reinforcements, they had already concealed their auras and were observing from a dark corner. If nothing unexpected happened, they wouldn't need to do anything. Enlin and the others broke through the mist spell formation and saw a tall, crimson pagoda. Even though it was already suppressed by a powerful seal, they could still sense its towering demonic aura. Xianyuan Cheng looked at the 6-story pagoda and narrowed his eyes. I heard that there are 3 demon emperors sealed in this pagoda, and they're used by the celestial court for Shi the Enlightened to refine magic treasures. This pagoda is the prototype of the magic treasure. Now that I'm here, I know that once this magic treasure is successfully refined, it'll probably be a high-rank spirit tool. Enlin complained exasperatedly. Shi the Enlightened is awesome, but it's a pity for us workers. There's still some time before the seal is reinforced. Since we confirmed the location of the pagoda, let's go kill the demon King Hundred-Eyed Spider first, Huang Shanshan said as she held the Snow King Spider Silk in her hand. The Hundred-Eyed Spider usually moved around the pagoda, spying on it. However, even a demon emperor wouldn't be able to break the seal of this pagoda, much less in Demon King. Tian Lingling volunteered upon hearing that they were about to begin hunting down the evil Spirit King. I'm the best at tracking auras. I'll do it. Seeing how eager Tian Lingling was, Huang Shanshan could only hand over the Snow King Spider Silk to her. After obtaining the Snow King Spider Silk, Tian Lingling fished out a strange formation disc from her pocket. After the formation plate was activated by Yuan Shi, it suddenly opened its mouth and chewed on the Snow King Spider Silk. Following that, the needle on the plate swayed and stopped in a certain direction. Let's go. A smug smile appeared on Tian Lingling's face as she walked toward the direction indicated by the formation disc. After crossing a few small mountain ridges, a thin layer of white fog appeared around them. Enlin and the others could feel that the essence qi in this place was extremely rich. It was a good place for cultivation. Since it was suitable for cultivation, all kinds of demonic beasts would naturally like it. It was precisely because of this that everyone raised their vigilance. The pointer of the array disc suddenly began to shake violently. This was due to the target's energy and position becoming unstable. The Hundred-Eyed Spider is nearby, Tian Lingling said anxiously. She had just finished speaking when the Snow King Spider Silk in her hand suddenly seemed to come to life. Snow-white threads shot out from the Snow King Spider Silk and wrapped tightly around her petite body. Ah! Tian Lingling screamed. She tried to struggle free, but the spider silk became tighter and tighter around her. Xianyuan Cheng's reaction was the fastest. He instantly unsheathed his sword and rushed toward Tian Lingling. He slashed out over 100 times, slicing apart all the spider's silk binding her body. Tian Lingling didn't even have time to heave a sigh of relief before she heard the hissing sound become louder and louder. Clearly, when they used the Snow King Spider Silk to lock onto the Evil Spirit King, the Evil Spirit King could also lock onto the position of the Snow King Spider Silk and control it. Xianyuan Cheng stood in front of Tian Lingling and was on full alert. He was the most powerful person here. If they were to fight the Evil Spirit King head-on, he would be the one to do it. Enlin and Su Xiaolan were responsible for providing support from his side. As for Tian Lingling and Huang Shanshan, if everything went according to plan, they would just stand on the side and cheer him on. A gigantic figure rushed out of the mist. It was an extremely frightening spider. Its body was 30 feet tall, which was already the height of a 3-story building. Its 8 sharp black legs were like swords embedded into the ground, and there were countless eyes constantly moving around in front of its legs. It looked both disgusting and terrifying. If someone with trypophobia were to see this spider, they would probably pass out immediately. A terrifying aura erupted from the spider's arrival. This was the aura of the evil spirit king. The 100-eyed spider had no intention of running away. It could sense that these cultivators weren't very strong. A cultivator's body was extremely nutritious. How could it give it up for nothing? The 100-eyed spider opened its mouth, and a huge amount of spider silk shot out from its mouth. The snow-white spider silk formed a huge net of over 100 feet, enveloping everyone within. It descended rapidly, clearly intending to bind them first. Immortal spell, Phoenix Flame Palm. Su Xiaolan stretched out her palm and slapped it toward the spider web. Boom! The extremely pure flame palm directly smashed the spider silk palm into ashes. Seeing this, Huang Shanshan was astonished. So powerful! The spider web condensed by the evil spirit king was actually destroyed by this young girl in one move. Seeing that its attack didn't work, the 100-eyed spider leaped with its black legs, and its huge body leaped toward Enlin and the others. Although this spider had a huge body, its jumping ability wasn't weak at all. With a single leap, it covered a distance of over 100 meters. Its 8 sharp, pitch-black legs were like long spears, stabbing toward Enlin and the others. Xin Yuan Cheng took a step forward and also leaped into the air. Facing the astonishing black figure in the air, his expression didn't change as he slashed out with his sword. The long sword slashed out with a sword projection that resembled white silk. Although it didn't deal much damage, it caused the 100-eyed spider's huge body to spin. Then, the spider fell to the ground like a spinning cannon. Boom! The ground cracked from the impact of its body. The spider fell to the ground head first, its 8 long, thin, and sharp legs constantly struggling in the air. It looked like it was in pain. Wow, this technique of leveraging force is so powerful. I've never seen such a profound sword technique, even from Uncle Chun of Wudong Mountain. Tian Lingling couldn't help but exclaim in admiration at the scene before her eyes. Indeed, this immortal ambassador Xin Yuan is so young, yet he's already comprehended the Tao of Tai Chi to such an extent. His talent is truly terrifying. Huang Shanshan also exclaimed in admiration. Enlin was speechless as he looked at the 2 beauties beside him who were continuously expressing their astonishment. Did the 2 of them really become salted fishes who only knew how to cheer 666? Tian Lingling, where's your talisman? Huang Shanshan, where's your cultivation black technology gun? Don't you need to go up and show your support in a battle like this? And Lin sighed softly. Then, he launched a mountain-quaking fist at the fallen 100-eyed spider. Boom! The golden fist carried a terrifying might and smashed into the 100-eyed spider's abdomen. The spider's lower abdomen was unable to defend itself, and just like that, it caved in and split open. Hiss! The spider let out a wretched cry as its body tumbled backward from the impact of the fist. Green blood seeped out from its mouth. So powerful! Immortal Ambassador An's immortal technique is actually able to break through an evil spirit king's defense with a single punch. The power contained within this golden fist is already comparable to an attack from a cultivator of the spirit nurturing stage. Huang Shanshan exclaimed in admiration at Enlin. I've seen this technique before, and it's even more powerful than last time. Go, fake Taoist priest. Tian Lingling cheered from the side. Hearing this, Enlin grimaced. He could tell that the 2 of them had no intention of attacking at all. Fine, let them continue to be astonished bystanders. Enlin shook his head and rejoined the battle, participating in the thrashing of the evil spirit king. Chapter 64. On the battlefield, the roars of spells and the screams of the 100-eyed spiders intertwined. The 100-eyed spider regretted it. These people in front of it were just pretending to be pigs to eat tigers. Setting aside that freakishly powerful cultivator of the spirit-nurturing initial stage, just those 2 cultivators of the 10th stage Tao body were almost as powerful as it was. How was it supposed to survive like this? A sharp black foot slashed towards Xianyuan Cheng, but it was cut off by him with a backhand slash. He spat the corrosive venom at Su Xiaolan, but his face was covered by her flaming giant palm. Just as it was retreating, its chrysanthemum was torn apart by a golden fist. Hiss! The Demon King's blood-curdling screech echoed far and wide. A group of black-robed, fiendish cultivators were lying in ambush in the forest 1,000 feet away. When they saw the Demon King being trampled on, they couldn't help but tremble in fear. At the forefront of this group of fiendish cultivators, there were 4 Demon Kings with powerful auras. They looked at the Demon King with sympathy. Fortunately, the Demon Emperor attached sufficient importance to this operation to capture spirit-nurturing stage cultivators and mobilized more than half of the Demon Realm's forces. Otherwise, we really wouldn't have been able to deal with these people, the Demon King of Wickedness said. The Demon King of Agony cackled menacingly as he held a bloody skeleton in his hand. In order to capture the 100-eyed spider, cultivators of the spirit-nurturing stage are required. With the Demon Emperor's current lineup, even 3 spirit-nurturing stage cultivators would be no problem. The Demon King of Wrath spoke. I'll deal with the spirit-nurturing stage cultivators with Blackheart. We can't afford to fail in our blood token refinement plan. The red-eyed Demon King of Wisdom said, Leave the cultivator with the golden fist to me. I, the Demon King of Wisdom, am a man of my word when it comes to revenge. The Devil King of Agony said, Once the Demon King is dead, we will move out immediately. Just as the Demon Kings were eyeing their prey, and Lin's battle was coming to an end, the 100-eyed spider was forced into a dead end. The densely packed eyeballs on its head suddenly shot out. Be careful, Xianyuan Cheng shouted. Boom, boom, boom. The eyeballs flying towards Xianyuan Cheng and the others suddenly began to explode violently, as if they were bombs. The violent energy began to explode, and Lin and Su Xiaolan were hit by the shock waves of the explosion and were forced to retreat again and again. The 100-eyed spider's desperate struggle finally created a chance for survival, and it immediately fled into the distance. Unfortunately, it had overlooked Xianyuan Cheng. Xianyuan Cheng did not retreat in the face of those explosions. Instead, he advanced. The white light distorted all the explosive energy and shifted it to the side. The longsword in his hand carried a vast sword might as it slashed down at the 100-eyed spider that had revealed an opening. The sword light was piercingly cold and extended for 100 feet, instantly cutting the body of the 100-eyed spider into 2. What a powerful slash! He's even more powerful than Green River Sword Immortal from the Tai-Bai Sword Sect. Huang Shanshan exclaimed in astonishment. Even the sect leader of the Tai-Bai Sword Sect can't compare to the sword intent contained within this sword. Tian Lingling exclaimed in astonishment. Compared to the shocked duo who had nothing to do, Xianyuan Cheng and the others didn't relax in the slightest. Instead, they quickly gathered together. This was because they had sensed several extremely powerful auras approaching them. Immediately afterward, 4 black-robed demon kings with extremely powerful auras arrived on a black mist and surrounded Lin and the others. On the ground, over 20 black-robed demonic cultivators also rushed out and surrounded Lin and the others. Judging from their auras, they were cultivators of the Tao body stage. Kukuka, you've been ambushed. The Demon King of Agony laughed loudly as he held a bloody skull in his hand. Foolish humans, give up resisting and obediently hand over your hearts, the Demon King of Wickedness said aggressively. If you surrender now, I, the Demon King of Wrath, will grant you a quick death, the Demon King of Wrath also said. Lin, hearing these words, Lin felt a myriad of emotions welling up in his heart. What's with these terrible lines? What King era is this? As Demon Kings, don't they feel embarrassed saying such old-fashioned lines? The Demon King of Wisdom looked at the 2 people below and said smugly, Ha ha, the 2 little cultivators below. Do you still remember me? And Lin and Tian Lingling raised their heads and saw the crimson-eyed Demon King of Wisdom. Huh, they're very familiar. The Demon King of Wisdom laughed. I said that the next time we meet, I'll definitely make you wish you were dead. You've all been fooled by my flawless acting. You didn't expect this to be a trap, did you? Ha ha. And Lin, Tian Lingling. To be honest, even Lin didn't have the heart to crush this Demon King's ego. Flawless acting? Even Li Yifeng, who had won the 100 Flowers Award, had better acting skills than him. With his acting skills, he could at most win a Golden Raspberry Award, nothing more. Just as the Demon Kings thought that victory was within their grasp, several powerful auras suddenly approached them. And Lin and the others wore indifferent expressions, but the Demon Kings were starting to lose their composure. Wickedness. The Demon Emperor sent other Demon Kings over. The Demon King of Wrath exclaimed, "Impossible! The other two Demon Kings have other missions to complete. It can't be them, and the numbers don't add up either." The Demon King of Wickedness expression became grave. "It's human cultivators!" The Demon King of Agony exclaimed in surprise as he looked at the approaching cultivators. The Savior, Green River Sword Immortal, and Cloud Exploring Taoist unleashed their powerful auras and flew over on their swords. On the ground, 10 cultivators of the 10th stage Tao body also surrounded the 20 or so demonic cultivators and quickly closed in on them. Could it be that our plan has been seen through? The Demon King of Wisdom didn't expect the situation to suddenly change, and he couldn't help but be dazed for a moment. 3 cultivators of the Spirit Nurturing Initial Stage, 1 cultivator of the Spirit Nurturing Intermediate Stage, and a dozen or so cultivators of the 10th stage Tao body. Is this a F***King lineup to fight an evil Spirit King? The Demon King of Wrath roared. Who would have thought that there would be so many Demon Kings? This trip was worth it, Cloud Exploring Taoist said indifferently. Foolish Demon Kings, you've already been surrounded. Surrender now, and I'll give you a quick death. The Savior laughed loudly. Hearing this, the Demon Kings were all enraged. This bastard actually dared to steal their lines. Meanwhile, Lin almost fainted. Why is this fatty's line also so terrible? To the many demonic cultivators, the situation started to take a turn for the worse, and their morale started to waver. Originally, they were the ones surrounding Lin and the others, but now they were the ones being surrounded instead. Wickedness, are we still going to fight? The Demon King of Agony asked. Although they were now the weaker side, there was still not much of a difference in strength. If they fought with all their might, they might still have a chance to complete the mission. Fight! The mission given to us by the Demon Emperor must be completed at all costs. If we retreat now, I guarantee that we won't even be able to see their shadows next time. I'm just curious as to why our plan was exposed. As he spoke, the Demon King of Wickedness expression became darker and darker. Could it be that there was a traitor among them? Chapter 65. Hearing the Demon King of Wickedness's words, all the Demon Kings felt a chill in their hearts. That's right. Only the Demon Emperor and the 6 Demon Kings knew about their plan. How did these cultivators know? Unless there was a traitor among them. The 4 Demon Kings looked at each other. Finally, they all focused their gazes on the Demon King of Wisdom. The Demon King of Wisdom felt a chill in his heart. Why are you all looking at me? The Demon King of Wrath snorted coldly. Before this operation, the other 5 Demon Kings have been staying by the Demon Emperor's side. Only you have gone out to carry out the bait mission. Only you have the opportunity to leak information to the enemy. The Demon King of Agony's eyes widened. Wisdom, what else do you have to say? You actually suspect me? I completed that mission perfectly. I didn't let down the Demon Emperor. I have a clear conscience. The Demon King of Wisdom said furiously. He had always done things openly and honestly. He didn't expect to be suspected by the other Demon Kings. How could he take this lying down? The cultivators sensed that there seemed to be internal conflict among the Demon Kings, so they weren't in a hurry to attack. Hearing their conversation, Lin's eyes lit up. This has nothing to do with the Demon King of Wisdom. Your plan was revealed to us by another unknown Demon King. The Demon King of Wisdom was overjoyed. He didn't expect this cultivator to speak up for him. Look, This cultivator has already said so. How can you blame me for this? He said agitatedly. However, what he didn't expect was that the other three demon kings looked at him even more darkly. In fact, they were already exuding killing intent. Even a human cultivator is speaking up for you. You guys really have a good relationship. The demon king of wickedness smiled insincerely. His huge sword was already emitting waves of black aura. The other two demon kings, killing intent, also began to surge. It was obvious that they were about to attack. However, their target wasn't the human cultivators, but the demon king of wisdom. The demon king of wisdom's eyes were wet. He felt that he had already been led into a trap. There was really no way he could explain himself. Then, Tian Lingling acted as if she had been exposed. Uncle Wisdom, since you've already been exposed, why are you still putting on an act? Hurry up and help us deal with the other three demon kings. Don't worry, none of them can escape. When the demon king of wisdom heard this, his chest tightened, as if 10,000 divine beasts had crushed him. Acting? F*CK, you're acting. And Uncle Wisdom? F*CK. He's trying to get close to me. I'm gonna die. Demon king of wisdom. Your acting is pretty good. You still have that innocent look on your face, and your expression is on point. The demon king of wickedness chuckled as he raised his sword. I've underestimated you. I didn't expect you to have hidden your strength so well. The devil king of agony's blood skull started glowing red. I have to say, your acting skills are very good. The three of us have been fooled by you. The demon king of wrath's black devil claw crackled, already accumulating power. The demon king of wisdom was about to cry. He had never imagined that, in the eyes of others, his best acting skills would be like this. I swear if I, the demon king of wisdom, am a traitor, I will be struck by lightning. The demon king of wisdom threw caution to the wind. There was no way he could defend himself, so he could only swear an oath to prove himself. Rumble. A bolt of blue lightning fell and directly struck the demon king of wisdom, charring him black. Holy F*CK. This time, not only were the demons dumbfounded, but even the human cultivators were all dumbfounded. Did he really get struck by F*King lightning? Even Tian Lingling, who had dug a hole for the demon king of wisdom, had her eyes wide open, unable to come to her senses. The demon king of wisdom's body was charred black, and black smoke puffed out of his mouth. He only wanted to say one sentence. I'm going to F*CK the heavens. Of course, this lightning wasn't released for no reason. This was a trump card that Enlin had prepared using the lightning manipulation technique for a long time. He didn't expect it to be put to use here. His Thunder Essence cultivation technique was a cultivation technique that was directly related to the essence of the Tao of Lightning. How could the techniques derived from it be simple? Not only could this lightning manipulation technique conceal itself from cultivators of the spirit nurturing stage, but it could also continuously accumulate power. Of course, that strike just then was already a fully charged lightning manipulation technique. The demon king of wisdom was very powerful. The lightning strike only caused him light injuries, and the effects weren't very obvious. However, the effects derived from it were indeed very obvious. If I said this was just an accident, would you guys believe me? The demon king of wisdom's body trembled as he spoke. He was struck by lightning the moment he swore. He felt like he was going crazy. The demon king of wickedness looked up at the sky. Only the demon emperor can conceal himself from all of us and suddenly unleash this level of divine lightning. He's already given us instructions. Wisdom die. The demon king of wisdom still wanted to speak, but the demon king of wickedness's huge sword had already started slashing toward him. The demon king of agony's bloody skeleton bit toward him, and the demon king of wrath's black demonic claws clawed toward him. In an instant, the demon king of wisdom was in a desperate situation. At this moment, Enlin yelled loudly, "Let's hurry up and attack. Brother Wisdom is in danger." Then, the human cultivators all pulled out their weapons in unison. Kill. Protect Brother Wisdom. They started slashing toward the demonic cultivators. The Demon King of Wisdom felt his blood rush to his heart, and he was really forced to cry. Brother Wisdom? Who the F asterisk CK is your brother? These F asterisk King human cultivators are all Oscar-winning actors. Can I give each of you a little golden man? Please let me go. When the three Demon Kings realized that the human cultivators were really starting to fight to protect the Demon King of Wisdom, they all bared their teeth and started to use their trump cards. No matter what, they had to get rid of this Demon King of Wisdom as soon as possible. Otherwise, it would be difficult to resolve the hatred in their hearts. They could lose the team battle, but the traitor must die. Dark Flaming Demon Slash. The Demon King of Wickedness's huge sword slashed out with monstrous black flames, breaking the Demon King of Wisdom's protective spell. Pwah! The Demon King of Wisdom spat out blood and flew backward. Then he saw a huge bloody skeleton about 3 meters in size biting toward him. Crimson Eye Spell. The Demon King of Wisdom's crimson eyes exploded with a crimson light, and he repelled the bloody skeleton. At this moment, the Demon King of Wrath had already flashed behind the Demon King of Wisdom, and his 2 black demonic claws stabbed into the Demon King of Wisdom's back like sharp swords. Traitor, go to hell! The Demon King of Wrath roared, and his hands tore outwards. Rip! Just like that, the Demon King of Wisdom's body was torn into 2. Black-colored blood splattered across the sky, just like how miserable his life was. The Demon King of Wrath's achievement of tearing a Demon King apart with his bare hands had finally been achieved. Seeing that the traitor was dead, the Demon Kings felt that they had vented their anger. They felt much more carefree, and some of them even laughed heartily. The Savior and the other spirit-nurturing stage cultivators all beat their chests and stamped their feet in regret because they were a step too late to save Brother Wisdom. The best actor of a generation, the Demon King of Wisdom, had fallen just like that. Countless extras were filled with grief and indignation, and their eyes were all red with bloodlust. This battle was still ongoing. Chapter 66. An actor's self-cultivation was to have faith in their profession and perform to the end. That's right, Brother Wisdom was dead. Now, the human cultivators were going to avenge him. On the battlefield, the human cultivators fought with all their might. The demonic cultivators were all intimidated by this aura and retreated in defeat. Wickedness, what do we do now? The Demon King of Wrath asked anxiously. The Demon King of Wickedness scanned the battlefield around him and made a prompt decision. There's a traitor among us. If we continue fighting, we'll definitely be wiped out. Run. After saying this, the Demon King of Wickedness transformed into a streak of light and fled into the distance. The other 2 Demon Kings did the same. However, the spirit-nurturing stage cultivators who were already prepared wouldn't let them escape. Xin Yuan Cheng immediately flew up on his sword and blocked the Demon King of Wickedness. His myriad spirit, Tai Chi Dao, had already reached a very high level of attainment. Sword webs blocked the Demon King of Wickedness path. Want to escape? No way. Xin Yuan Cheng's Tai Chi sword webs were impenetrable. Want to attack? It didn't exist either. Xin Yuan Cheng's defense was even more freakish. Unless one was as powerful as Wang Xuanzhan, they wouldn't be able to injure him. Just like that, the Demon King of Wickedness was entangled by a sticky candy. He was about to explode from anger. The Demon King of Wrath wasn't much better. He was blocked by the Savior. The Savior was clearly a fatty, but his speed was frighteningly fast. He also held a light sword that could change its length at will. It could even injure the Demon King of Wrath's black claws. Its attack power was extremely powerful. As for the Demon King of Agony, he was naturally the most miserable one. Cloud, exploring Taoist, was a powerful cultivator of the spirit-nurturing intermediate stage. His trapping techniques were extremely powerful. Coupled with Green River Sword Immortal, who specialized in killing, what else could the Demon King of Agony do? He was also in great pain and despair. Cloud Exploring Taoist Cloud Misbinding Technique is both a trapping formation and a killing formation. I think the Demon King of Agony will be defeated soon. Huang Shanshan analyzed seriously. The Savior's laser sword is a piece of advanced technology stolen from the United States, right? After fusing it with his own strength, it can even wound the Demon King of Wrath's bloodline demonic hand. How impressive! Tian Lingling exclaimed. And Lin was rendered speechless when he saw the two salted fishes shouting 666 from the side. However, there was no need for them to worry about the war at this time. Although the remaining 20 or so demonic cultivators outnumbered them, their cultivations varied. Some were strong, some were weak. Furthermore, the 10 reinforcements he had recruited were all powerful cultivators of the 10th stage Tao body. Why would they be afraid of these demonic cultivators? Just like that, more than 20 demonic cultivators were surrounded and killed by 10 powerful reinforcements. They didn't even have a chance to escape. Some of the demonic cultivators were forced into a corner. They raised their swords and roared as they charged towards Enlin and the others. Enlin was just about to make a move when he saw Huang Shanshan pull out a silver pistol with a large caliber. Bang! A blue bullet shot out from the muzzle. This demonic cultivator reacted very quickly. His head actually tilted to a certain angle in an instant, dodging the trajectory of the bullet. Just as the bullet grazed past the demonic cultivator's head, boom, the bullet exploded. Even the enemy's head was blown off, and Lin's mouth gaped open. He stared blankly at the fallen body in front of him. He was so shocked that he couldn't speak. Was that a F*** bullet or a bomb? Huang Shanshan blew at the smokeless muzzle. There was a look of disdain on her beautiful face. Do you think my vital energy bullet is that easy to dodge? All right. And Lin gave full marks for this act of bullsh**ting. Using bullets as bombs was indeed the style of the Huan Nation Special Operations Department. Don't ever underestimate a salted fish. Who knows, they might launch a salted fish stab at you at any moment. The 20 or so demonic cultivators on the ground had already dwindled to a dozen or so. Furthermore, the ones who sustained the heaviest injuries were only light injuries. And Lin was no longer under any pressure. Then, he retrieved a golden glazed sword from his storage ring. Huh, fake Taoist priest, what are you doing? Tian Lingling asked curiously after noticing Lin's actions. Lin turned around, leaving her with a carefree view of his back. Hee, now, please refer to me as Lin, sword immortal. Tian Lingling, and Lin didn't say anything else. Instead, he gripped his sword and entered the battlefield like a sword immortal. Demon, I'll let you have a taste of my total annihilation. And Lin roared and slashed out with his glazed sword. The incoming demonic cultivator only had the strength of a 6th-stage Tao body. How could he withstand a single slash from Enlin? His abdomen was sliced open, and he collapsed to the ground. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. After defeating his opponent in one strike, Enlin elegantly turned around and continued to search for more enemies. This time, he chose a demonic cultivator of the 8th-stage Tao body. Demon, I'll let you have a taste of my heaven-crushing demonic dragon slash. Enlin roared. He leaped high into the air and slashed down toward the demonic cultivator's head. The demonic cultivator was frightened by the technique Enlin had just mentioned, and he stumbled back in retreat. Heaven-crushing demonic dragon slash. Just the name alone was enough to tell that it was very powerful. Boom! Sure enough, a trench was carved into the ground. The retreating demonic cultivator was extremely shocked. Of course, the demonic cultivator didn't know that Enlin was merely swinging a sword around randomly. Heaven-crushing demonic dragon slash? Don't joke around. That's just a name I made up. Enlin had never learned any swordsmanship before. Looking at Xian Yuan Cheng's elegant and graceful appearance when he wielded a sword, and looking at Su Xiaolan's elegant and beautiful figure when she wielded a sword, he felt a wave of envy. But what did he fight like with his fists? Bricks? Tui. He felt like he really needed to change his style a bit. Hence, he picked up the golden glazed sword and began the journey of Enlin's sword immortal journey of crushing noobs. He felt that it was a pity that the two salted fish didn't cheer for him anymore. It was as if they were looking down on his swordsmanship. Hence, they turned their attention elsewhere. Do you really think it's all I've got? And Lin laughed coldly and lightning crackled on his fingertips. Lightning manipulation technique. This technique was a technique to gather lightning from the void. It could gather lightning at the tip of one's finger and then transmit it to the sword. Instantly, lightning crackled around the golden glazed sword, and a powerful might erupted forth. Heavenly lightning slash. And Lin roared. Lightning crackled on the sword in his hand, and he slashed toward the demonic cultivator in front of him. The demonic cultivator used his sword to defend himself, but his sword was instantly sliced in half. The terrifying lightning charred the demonic cultivator, and he collapsed to the ground. Ah, fake Taoist priest can use sword-type techniques? Tian Lingling was also attracted by the sound of lightning, and her exquisite little face was filled with astonishment. So what? His movements are still as vulgar as ever. Huang Shanshan glanced at him and didn't look anymore, and Lin wasn't far from them. Hearing their comments, he felt a tightness in his chest. Right at this moment, a woman in white slowly walked over. Her looks were natural, and she appeared beautiful and tranquil as she hugged her Peepa. Taoist and Lin, you seem to really like using swords? Her voice flowed out of her mouth like flowing water, extremely beautiful and pleasant to the ears. And Lin turned his head and saw that it was Dreamy Voice Fairy, one of the 10 helpers he had found. Hence, he replied cheerfully, "That's right. My goal is to become a legendary sword immortal of my generation." He was in an extremely good mood as he spoke. Looks like his swordsmanship isn't bad. See, isn't there someone who was attracted by his swordsmanship? Hearing his reply, Dreamy Voice Fairy smiled faintly and fished out a secret manual. Taoist and Lin, I have a copy of the Mount Wei Sword Sect's complete collection of unique sword techniques. It's 5 spirit stones. Do you want it? And Lin stared blankly at this complete collection of unique sword techniques. His mouth twitched, and 10,000 mythological bees stampeded over his heart. Could it be that she thought my swordsmanship was clumsy, and that's why she was attracted to me? And Lin's heart ached. He could see the anticipation in Dreamy Voice Fairy's eyes and the glowing words on the cover of the secret manual. Finally, he clenched his teeth and said, "Deal." Chapter 67. And Lin fished out 5 spirit stones with complicated emotions. Then he put the complete collection of basic sword techniques into his storage ring. He had to admit that this basic sword technique was very suitable for him. It solved his most pressing problem. Boom! A huge explosion came from the sky, and Lin raised his head to look up. He saw that the bloody red skull had been smashed into pieces by Cloud, exploring Taoist Cloud Hand. The Demon King of Agony's magic treasure was connected to his own aura. With his magic treasure destroyed, he also spat out a mouthful of black blood. Green River Sword Immortal seized the opportunity to attack. Instantly, Sword Intent soared into the sky. An astonishing sword projection slashed out from his longsword. It was like an upside-down river, vast and turbulent. No! A look of despair appeared on the Demon King of Agony's face. Looking at the terrifying sword projection, he couldn't think of any way to defend himself. In the span of a single breath, the Demon King of Agony's body was engulfed by the sword projection. He died. The Demon King of Agony's defeat caused the other 2 Demon Kings to turn pale with fright. When Cloud Exploring Taoist and Green River Sword Immortal joined their battle, would they still be alive? Just like that, the remaining 2 Demon Kings began to fight with all their might. The Demon King of Wrath used a mystic technique that expended his life force to increase his strength for a short time. His 2 demonic claws became even larger than a human, appearing extremely malevolent. His speed was extremely fast, and he charged toward the Savior like a ferocious beast. The Savior slashed at the Demon King of Wrath with his lightsaber. To his surprise, the Demon King of Wrath didn't dodge. Instead, he directly swatted his demonic claws forward. After being magically modified, the lightsaber was extremely powerful. The Demon King of Wrath's demonic claws were directly sliced in half. However, the Savior had a bad feeling about this. The Demon King of Wrath's other hand was already in front of him. He could only barely block it with his sword. Boom! The savior was sent flying by the palm. A powerful force tore at his body. In the end, he spat out a mouthful of blood. The demon king of wrath didn't pursue him. Instead, he used all his strength to flee into the distance. This scene was seen by Cloud, Exploring Taoist, and Green River Sword Immortal, and the two of them immediately gave chase. As for Xianyuan Cheng, they discovered that Xianyuan Cheng didn't need their help at all, so they just ignored him. The demon king of wickedness felt like he was about to go crazy. He used a secret technique to forcibly raise his cultivation and desperately tried to escape, but he was still easily stopped by Xianyuan Cheng. He was still rejoicing that the cultivator who had stopped him was only a spirit-nurturing initial stage cultivator, so he still had a good chance of escaping. But only now did he realize that this cultivator was actually the strongest among this group of people. After using a mystic technique, the demon king of wickedness felt that he was stronger than most cultivators of the spirit-nurturing intermediate stage. However, he was unable to gain any advantage over Xianyuan Cheng. Every time Xianyuan Cheng blocked his way, he was able to inflict another wound on his body with his longsword. However, there was no killing intent in his actions. His intentions were extremely clear. Not only did he want to block his way, but he also wanted to King capture him alive. In normal battles, capturing someone alive was much more difficult than killing them. This was because killing them required one to erupt with all one's strength and fight to the death. However, capturing them alive required one to be skillful and at ease, and controlling one's strength well. Never in his wildest dreams would the demon king of wickedness have imagined that there would be a day when he would be captured alive by a cultivator of the spirit-nurturing initial stage. Whoosh! A white flash flashed through the net of swords. The demon king of wickedness was once again forced back by the sword aura, and a sword wound appeared on his chest. His body was already riddled with wounds, and black blood covered his entire skin. However, Xianyuan Cheng's white robe still fluttered in the wind, and he looked spotless. This is already the 35th time. Do you want to continue? Xianyuan Cheng said calmly as he gazed at the 35 sword wounds on the demon king of wickedness. I'll kill you. The demon king of wickedness was furious. He raised his huge sword and charged towards Xianyuan Cheng, slashing out a sword projection that carried a monstrous black aura. Xianyuan Cheng also slashed out a sword projection. The two sword projections collided, and an earth-shattering boom rang out. Energy swept out in all directions, forming a hurricane that uprooted all the trees on the ground. Before the demon king of wickedness could unleash a second attack, a sword projection as fast as lightning slashed through his body once again, causing blood to splatter everywhere. The 36th time, Xianyuan Cheng said calmly, "The demon king of wickedness." On the other side of the battle, the demon king of wrath, who had used a mystic technique to forcefully increase his cultivation base, had already fled close to 10 kilometers away. However, the person chasing after him was getting closer and closer. Hee, you're still too inexperienced to compete with me in terms of flying speed. A mocking expression appeared on Cloud Exploring Taoist's face as he stroked his fluttering white beard. He stepped on a white cloud, and his speed was so fast that it broke through the sound barrier, leaving a sonic boom behind him. Cloud Exploring Taoist, who cultivated the Tao of clouds and mist, could make use of the surrounding atmosphere to its fullest extent. In terms of flying speed, he was much faster than cultivators of the same rank. The demon king of Wrath's cultivation base was lower than his, so how could he possibly escape from his grasp? Stop! Cloud Exploring Taoist made a grabbing motion in the air, and the clouds and mist of heaven and earth surged. A large hand of clouds and mist appeared in front of the demon king of wrath, and it slammed toward him with an earth-shattering force. The demon king of wrath couldn't slow down. Once he did, he wouldn't be able to escape anymore. Thus, he could only stretch out his black demonic claws in an attempt to tear apart the large hand of clouds and mist. Boom! The power of the large hand of clouds and mist exploded, and the demon king of wrath almost coughed up blood. he had still underestimated the power of that hand. The energy contained within it actually directly broke through his protective divine ability and struck his body. At this moment, Cloud Exploring Taoist had already caught up. Seeing that he couldn't escape, the Demon King of Wrath's eyes turned crimson. "I'm going to kill you." An astonishing aura erupted from his body, and he shot toward Cloud Exploring Taoist like a cannonball. Two demonic claws that contained immense power grabbed toward Cloud Exploring Taoist's chest. Cloud Exploring Taoist's eyebrows stood up, and he roared, "Perverted thief! Were you going to grab me?" After saying this, he unleashed a set of Cloud 18 palms. The white palm of clouds and mist struck toward the Demon King of Wrath with a mighty force. Boom! 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 The Demon King of Wrath was forced back once again. The aura of the clouds and mist was like maggots in his bones, seeping into his body and continuously disintegrating his power. He felt extremely aggrieved. Not only was he being chased and beaten, but he was also being called a perverted thief. When had he ever been a pervert? The Demon King of Wrath roared again, and he extended his pitch-black demonic claws toward Cloud Exploring Taoist's chest. Cloud Exploring Taoist was enraged once again. "Perverted thief, you're still going to grab me here?" Boom! A white cloud slash struck the Demon King of Wrath, causing him to cough up blood and retreat. This was Cloud Exploring Taoist's most powerful attack. Not only was it extremely powerful, but it could also absorb the vital energy within the victim's body. After being struck, the Demon King of Wrath instantly felt powerless. Right at this moment, Green River Sword Immortal, who had just arrived, seized the opportunity and unleashed an extremely powerful sword slash. A green sword projection pierced through the sky, instantly slicing the Demon King of Wrath's body in half. Green River Sword Immortal carried a long sword on his back and stood upright against the wind. A smug smile appeared on his handsome face. He had always been very good at seizing the right opportunity to kill his enemies. The battle between Xianyuan Cheng and the Demon King of Wickedness was also nearing its end. The Demon King of Wickedness's entire body was covered with sword wounds, and his aura was extremely weak. It was clear that he had been exhausted to the brink of death by Xianyuan Cheng and no longer had any hope of escaping. There was a look of despair on his face. In the end, he raised his sword to his own neck and roared, "Even if I die, I won't let you capture me alive." After saying this, he attempted to commit suicide. However, right at this moment, numerous white talismans suddenly appeared on the wounds on his body, completely binding his body. This type of binding was extremely powerful, and its power was endless. It wouldn't weaken with the passage of time. Xianyuan Cheng looked at the Demon King of Wickedness and shook his head. "Unfortunately, you still don't have the right to choose death. The sword wounds I've inflicted on your body are the heavenly lock sword technique's chains of death. The more sword wounds there are, the stronger the power of the seal. I've already inflicted 49 sword wounds on you. Even if you're a cultivator of the spirit-nurturing final stage, you still wouldn't be able to break free." As he said this, Xianyuan Cheng smiled confidently. "So, congratulations, Demon King of Wickedness, you've been captured alive." Chapter 68. The demonic cultivators on the ground were quickly wiped out. Of the 4 demon kings, 1 died a wrongful death, 2 died a tragic death, and 1 was captured alive. Although many of the human cultivators were injured, none of them died in battle. This could be said to be a pretty good result. This battle ended with a complete victory for the human cultivators. "Brother Wisdom, we've finally avenged you." Tian Lingling cheered loudly. She was already addicted to the scene and was unable to extricate herself. Hearing this, the crowd of cultivators all smiled knowingly. It had to be said that the acting was really satisfying. The Demon King of Wisdom also became the most tragic character in this battle. "Mr. and Lin, next time I go to America, I'll steal an Oscar for you. I'll give you Little Lee's Oscar for Best Actor." The Savior often went to America to steal things. At this moment, he patted Lin's shoulder and chuckled. Everyone knew that the instigator of tricking the Demon King of Wisdom was this harmless-looking brother in Lin. If not for his witty performance, the enemy would have lost a large part of their main force. This battle definitely wouldn't have ended so easily. Regarding this, even the quick-witted Tian Lingling wholeheartedly accepted. However, she still wanted the savior to help her steal an Oscar for Best Actress. In any case, she had contributed greatly to this scene. Many cultivators surrounded Lin and praised him, wishing that they could give him the Best Actor award on the spot. This made him quite embarrassed. He could only scratch his head and modestly express that he didn't deserve it. Su Xiaolan had already witnessed Lin's despicable attitude. Thus, she wasn't the slightest bit surprised that he would do something like this. Instead, she looked at the Demon King of Wickedness with interest. Although the Demon King of Wickedness was completely restrained, he wasn't deaf, hearing everyone's conversation. As long as one wasn't an idiot, they should be able to understand what had happened, right? Sure enough, after the Demon King of Wickedness heard their conversation, his eyes widened and he almost fainted from anger. So this was all a show. However, the actors weren't the Demon King of Wisdom, but these human cultivators. Heavens! What did he do to the Demon King of Wisdom? Wasn't it said that being sinister and ruthless was the patent of a Demon King? Why was this group of cultivators even more sinister than them? Why were they the victims instead? The Demon King of Wickedness's heart ached, and his chest felt extremely stuffy. For the first time, he began to doubt his life as a demon. As a demon, he had been tricked so badly by human cultivators. He really had no face to live on. But now, even the final right to seek death had been taken away by human cultivators. After the human cultivators finished their discussion, they once again focused their attention on the Demon King of Wickedness. Now, it was finally time for the interrogation. Xin Yuan Cheng released part of the Demon King of Wickedness's shackles, allowing him to speak. You bastards, you actually caused the death of the Demon King of Wisdom. You are despicable and shameless. You're really shameless. The Demon King of Wickedness scolded the human cultivators as soon as he was freed. Huh? Didn't you guys kill Brother Wisdom? Why are you blaming us? Tian Lingling's delicate face was full of confusion, and she pursed her lips in dissatisfaction. When the Demon King of Wickedness heard this, his chi and blood were immediately disrupted. He was so furious that blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. F***CK. He still has the face to call the Demon King of Wisdom Brother Wisdom? This cultivator is really shameless. All right, stop bickering and get down to business. And Lin waved his hand and looked at the Demon King of Wickedness sympathetically. Hearing this, everyone nodded. Right now, finding out the truth of the matter was the most important thing. Cloud Exploring Taoist asked the Demon King of Wickedness, "Let me ask you, why did you guys set up a trap to kill human cultivators of the spirit nurturing stage? What's your objective?" The Demon King of Wickedness laughed malevolently. "Even if I die, I won't tell you the reason. I curse you guys to fall into the demonic realm forever and suffer the pain of being hacked into pieces. I curse your souls to be burned by evil flames for millions of years, never to be able to transcend. I curse you guys." The Demon King of Wickedness blabbered a bunch of curses. However, even if he was beaten to death, he wouldn't divulge a single bit of their true objective. "Looks like we still have to interrogate them." And Lin shook his head and asked the dozen or so cultivators beside him, "Which one of you wants to go first?" A ferocious glint appeared on the Demon King's face. "Bring it on. I've suffered all sorts of hardships. Even if you're hacked into pieces, don't even think about getting a single bit of information from me." This time, the Savior spoke first. "Let me try." As he said this, he fished out a syringe from his pocket. "This is a pain-enhancing medicine that I stole from AI Meihua's top-notch biological laboratory. As long as you inject this medicine, all the pain nerves in your body will become extremely sensitive and intense. Moreover, you'll also suffer the pain of 10,000 ants gnawing at your heart." Hearing this, everyone grimaced. AI Meihua was a top-notch biological company that had close ties with the United States military. Just how many things did this guy steal from American companies? Moreover, I've modified this medicine with my pill refinement techniques. Ordinary cultivators of the spirit nurturing stage won't be able to dissolve it through the power within their bodies. A malicious smile appeared on the Savior's chubby face. Then, he raised the syringe and injected the medicine into the demon king of wickedness's artery. After a moment, the demon king of wickedness screamed in extreme pain. The pain of 10,000 ants gnawing at his heart was magnified infinitely by his sensitive pain nerves. This kind of pain was extremely terrifying. How about it? Are you going to talk or not? The Savior asked calmly as he gazed at the demon king of wickedness. I'm not talking. So what if it's 100 times more painful? The demon king of wickedness roared loudly. Hearing this, the fatty frowned slightly. This was already the most threatening method he could use. If he increased the efficacy of the medicine, the demon king of wickedness's pain nerves wouldn't be able to handle it, and he would become numb. That would be even more disadvantageous to the interrogation. Right at this moment, Su Xiaolan walked out. The divine phoenix flames danced on her fingertips. Let me try. Saying this, the divine phoenix flames pierced into the demon king of wickedness's body. Ah! The demon king of wickedness yelled loudly. He felt like he was in an endless sea of flames. His body was being incessantly burned. Not only every inch of his skin, but even his internal organs also felt like they were being roasted. It was extremely painful. Are you going to talk or not? Su Xiaolan stared at the demon king of wickedness with her clear eyes. I'm not talking. So what if you increase the intensity of the fire by 100 times? I still won't talk. The demon king of wickedness vowed to resist stubbornly. Su Xiaolan shook her head. I can't increase it by 100 times, but I can increase it by 1-fold. The demon king of wickedness's even more pained cries reverberated throughout heaven and earth. His heart was filled with despair. This kind of pain could actually be increased by 1-fold. However, he still wouldn't talk. Su Xiaolan was at her wit's end. Next, Cloud Exploring Taoist began his interrogation. His cloud aura blast technique not only targeted the physical body, but it could also stir up the vital energy within the demon king of wickedness's body, causing him to suffer even more pain. The demon king of wickedness screamed repeatedly, but he still gritted his teeth and persevered. Then, dreamy voice fairy's sound of tribulation targeted his hearing and soul. The demon king of wickedness screamed repeatedly, but he still gritted his teeth and persevered. Then, clairvoyant's copper coin acupuncture technique targeted each of his acupuncture points. The demon king of wickedness screamed repeatedly, but he still gritted his teeth and persevered. Then, Xianyuan Cheng, Green River Sword Immortal, and the others all displayed their abilities and created countless interrogation methods. The demon king of wickedness screamed repeatedly. His teeth were already crushed from gritting them, and tears involuntarily fell from his eyes. However, he still didn't say a word. The demon king of wickedness was filled with regret. He felt like he was in purgatory, and his eyes were filled with despair. If only he had chosen to die earlier. Previously, he had been very sympathetic towards the demon king of wisdom and felt that the demon king of wisdom had died a very tragic death. However, only now did he realize that among the 4 demon kings, he was the King one that suffered the most. He could experience the most terrifying interrogation methods that he could and couldn't imagine here. If he were a masochist, he would definitely die from pleasure here. Even Lin was starting to admire the demon king of wickedness perseverance. 108 interrogation methods had been used, but they still couldn't pry open his mouth. The human cultivators continued to torture the demon king of wickedness to the point where he was about to lose his mind. However, the demon king of wickedness still didn't say a word and kept his mouth shut. After an unknown period of time, the dozen or so human cultivators looked at the man with disheveled hair and a body riddled with wounds in admiration. The man's expression was lifeless, and he kept muttering, I won't say. He looked like he had already been tortured to the point where he was delirious. And Lin's worldview was once again refreshed. He wouldn't even submit to an immortal pill. He would submit to this demon king of wickedness. Just as all the cultivators were about to give up, Unlin's bright red head poked out from his pocket, and she spoke in a sweet voice. Master, how about I give it a try? Chapter 69. Hearing this, all the cultivators looked toward Unlin's pocket. The savior exclaimed, Mr. Unlin, you're hiding a mistress in your house. Unlin, dreamy voice fairy, was also surprised. That's not the point. The point is this flower said it wanted to try too. Does it have a good idea? What do you mean it's not the point? That's not the truth. Unlin retorted loudly. No one cared about his rebuttal. All the cultivators looked at the bright red head with anticipation in their eyes. All the cultivators were about to give up on interrogating Little Red, but Little Red suddenly said it wanted to try. This undoubtedly reignited their hope. Little Red was a little embarrassed from all the gazes and shrunk its head back into the pocket. I can't guarantee success, but I have a method that maybe we can try. Unlin took out Little Red and placed it in his palm. No problem. Tell me your method first. Just like that, Little Red was directly exposed in front of everyone's eyes. Her little face became even redder, even though her little face was already red. It's like this. Because I'm about to condense my demon core and transform, I awakened a divine ability during this period of time, Little Red said timidly. Unlin's eyes lit up. What divine ability? Little Red. My divine ability is very powerful. It's called the Great Bewitching Technique. The savior was shocked. Oh my God, Unlin, what did you do to the flower demon? How did a flower demon awaken such a divine ability? You didn't even let the flower go. Dreamy Voice Fairy was also shocked. That's not the point. The point is this flower planning to seduce the demon king of wickedness? Unlin was about to cry when he heard this. What do you mean that's not the point? That's not the truth. I didn't do anything to the flower demon. Little Red also nodded and explained on behalf of Unlin. That's right, you guys are thinking too much. Master is the best to me. What I love the most is Master's warm embrace. When the crowd of cultivators heard this, they all looked at Unlin with strange gazes, as if to say, hugging a flower all day, if that's not perverted, then what is? When Unlin heard Little Red's horrifying words, tears welled up in his eyes. Why did this demon pet always lead him into a pit? Xiaohong only wanted to make the relationship between her and her master even better. But she discovered that the cultivators seemed to have a deeper misunderstanding of her master. Dewdrops involuntarily appeared on her little head. At this moment, Xianyuan Chung spoke just in time to divert everyone's attention. Little Red, are you planning to use the Great Bewitching Technique on the Demon King of Wickedness? What are the specific effects? Yes, when I use my Great Bewitching art on the Demon King of Wickedness, it can arouse his lust and make him unable to stop. When his lust is aroused, I won't let him have his way. I'll stimulate him on a spiritual and lust level, then make him obey my every word. Xiaohong said sweetly. Xianyuan Chung lightly stroked his chin. In layman's terms, let a group of beauties continuously tease him, but they won't let him have his way. In the end, you'll drive him crazy, force him into insanity, and finally make him succumb to your spell? Xiaohong nodded repeatedly. Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Hearing this, Tian Lingling, Dreamy Voice Fairy, and the other female cultivators all blushed slightly. Huang Shanshan even spat in disdain. However, after some male cultivators heard this, their eyes lit up. Green River Sword Immortal came to a sudden realization. That's right. According to some scattered information that the sect has gathered about the Demon King, this Demon King of Wickedness has an extremely lecherous habit. Perhaps this is his weakness. If we target this weakness and make a breakthrough, we might be able to succeed. The crowd of male cultivators all nodded repeatedly and looked toward Xiaohong with scorching gazes. Unlin was a little worried. Xiaohong, don't tell me you're going to transform into a beautiful woman and tease the Demon King of Wickedness? Xiaohong shook her head. Master, I don't even know how to transform. How can I become a beautiful woman? My ability is to directly inject images into the Demon King of Wickedness' mind, making him feel as if he's there. After stimulating him enough, if his willpower is weak in that area, then my great bewitching technique will succeed. Hearing this, the crowd of male cultivators sighed in disappointment. On the other hand, Lin sighed in relief. Thankfully, this spell technique was only similar to an illusion technique. All right, then go and give a try. Saying this, Lin handed Xiao Hong over to the Demon King of Wickedness. Ah, Master, it's still not enough. I'm still lacking material, Xiao Hong said. Material? Lin blinked, a look of confusion on his face. Xiao Hong shook her head. It's a beautiful woman who will tease the Demon King of Wickedness in the illusion realm. I need a person to act as a template, then simulate a beautiful woman, and then perform the seductive act. A sense of foreboding welled up in Lin's heart. Then, are there any requirements for this template? There aren't any requirements. I just need that person to wear revealing female clothing and stand in front of me. Then, I'll imagine him entering the illusion realm. Xiao Hong explained. The crowd of cultivators naturally heard her words, and Lin turned his gaze toward all the female cultivators present. I refuse. Su Xiaolan immediately said, I'm just a lowly. Please let me go. Tian Lingling continued, and Lin grimaced. She's shamelessly calling herself a lowly at a time like this? Io, you actually want me to seduce the Demon King of Wickedness? Even if it's an illusion, it's still disgusting. I also refuse. Dreamy Voice Fairy said in disgust. You have to stand here in revealing clothing and record material for a flower spirit? I can't accept this alone. Huang Shanshan also waved her hand in disgust. Immediately afterward, the rest of the female cultivators also expressed their refusal. In the end, not a single person agreed to be the material, and Lin was in despair. Aren't you guys standing here to protect Earth and the world? Now all of you are refusing. What the hell is going on? Seeing that all the female cultivators had refused, Xiao Hong wasn't discouraged. She continued, Big sisters, it's understandable that you're shy. Actually, guys are fine for this material too. Hearing this, everyone was shocked and stared blankly at Xiao Hong. Xiao Hong continued, Actually, as long as you guys were revealing female clothing and stand in front of me, I can imagine your gender changing. It's just a little bigger breasts, fairer skin, and thinner waists. It's very easy to imagine. She was right, but all the male cultivators felt a wave of disgust. I refuse, Xian Yuan Cheng immediately said. I'm an old man, so I won't participate. I'll scare the Demon King of Wickedness. Cloud Exploring Taoist said slowly as he stroked his white beard. Female clothing? Don't joke around. Green River Sword Immortal said coldly. I'm so fat, so I won't make it more difficult for the flower demon to imagine things. The savior waved his hands. Just like that, all the male cultivators resolutely refused this request. And Lin was a little disappointed. It looked like this method wouldn't work either. However, for some reason, he suddenly discovered that everyone was looking at him. Why are you guys looking at me? A chill ran down Lin's spine. He could actually see a burning passion in these dozen or so gazes. Mr. Lin, I think you're quite handsome. The savior said, Fake Taoist priest must look very beautiful in female clothing. Tian Lingling was no longer bent, and her big round eyes were filled with anticipation. And Lin was shocked. What are you guys doing? I also refuse to wear female clothing. But, Student Lin, you're the team leader, Xian Yuan Cheng said gently. That's right, Mr. Lin. You're everyone's team leader. The savior echoed. Since I'm the team leader, I should shoulder the heavy responsibility and not retreat. Only then can I display the demeanor of a king. Cloud Exploring Taoist stroked his beard and shook his head. And Lin wanted to vomit blood. He really wanted to say, screw the team leader. Whoever wanted to be the team leader could be the one. At this moment, Xiao Hong also said excitedly, Master, don't worry. I'll definitely make you into the sexiest, most beautiful woman in the world. I definitely won't disgrace your mighty name. And Lin's eyes darkened. He suspected that he had taken in a fake demon pet. Please, someone please subdue this demon pet. Other people's demon pets could fly in the sky and burrow into the ground. They were omnipotent and were their master's capable helpers. But his demon pet was too awesome. It didn't know anything except forcing him to wear female clothing. Chapter 70. Fellow cultivators, why don't we think of some other way? Lin was on the verge of tears. He had an urge to strangle this little red flower to death. Hearing this, all the cultivators shook their heads in unison, their eyes full of anticipation. This is the only feasible method for now, Cloud Exploring Taoist said slowly. Lin, we believe you can do it. Dreamy voice, Fairy's delicate and pretty face blushed as she spoke in an extremely pleasant voice. This is related to the Demon Emperor's plan. The peace of the world depends on you, Green River Sword Immortal said solemnly. But Lin hesitated for a moment before his eyes suddenly lit up. He thought of a very good excuse. I can look for pictures of beautiful women online, or I can get you to watch some action movies. Hearing this, Little Hong shook her head. Master, the illusion realm of my great bewitching technique can only be created by using a 3D living person as the source material. Lin still didn't give up. But I don't have any revealing female clothing that fits me. As soon as he said this, apart from Tian Lingling, a few tall and slender female cultivators all took out various types of sexy female clothing and handed them to him in unison. Their speed was so fast that it left one speechless. Su Xiaolan even took out 3 wardrobes of clothing from her storage ring and let him choose whatever he wanted. Huang Shanshan even took out a bikini. Bikini, F***CK your bikini. Lin was about to have an asthma attack from anger. Which be **starred female cultivator was the one who said she didn't want to wear revealing female clothing. Now she actually had the nerve to hand him bikini. Doesn't your conscience hurt? All the female cultivators lowered their heads slightly, as if saying, bow your head to the cross-dresser. All of the male cultivators wore solemn expressions as they looked at Lin with sincerity in their eyes, as if they were saying, pay your utmost respect to the cross-dresser. Lin still wanted to struggle, but at this moment, it was as if he had been forced into a corner. There was no way out. After a long internal struggle, he finally gritted his teeth and made the most important decision of his life. Damn it, isn't it just women's clothing? I'll wear it then. I wear it for the peace of the world. I wear it for the safety of mankind. Lin kept hinting at himself to reduce the pressure on himself. Then, he began to pick out women's clothes. His hands trembled when he saw the sexy and revealing women's clothes. Damn, these women's clothes are so revealing. None of the fairies had worn them before. What are they trying to do by buying these clothes? Just for show? In the end, he chose the most conservative dress among the revealing ones. It was a black low-cut t-shirt with a small black skirt. How should he put it? He always felt that black was not as perverted as pink and red. It was barely within the acceptable range. A blush appeared on Lin's handsome face. Damn it, anyone would blush if they were to cross-dress in front of others. All the cultivators consciously turned their backs to Lin and looked into the distance. But who could tell him, why did the fairies pick up mirrors to touch up their makeup? Okay, they suddenly thought of putting on makeup at the same time. Lin had nothing to say. But why the F***CK did these men suddenly look at themselves in the mirror? Not only did they pick up mirrors, a few of them even picked up their phones to take selfies. In the photos on their phones, Lin was such a beautiful background. It was very collectible. Tears welled up in Lin's eyes. They almost flowed out. With extreme shame, he put on his clothes. The black low-cut t-shirt on his body revealed his strong chest. Because the t-shirt was short, his waist was also exposed. The short skirt on his body exposed his fair and long legs under the sunlight. That scene, sigh, forget it. Little Red, hurry up and record. Lin had a fierce look in his eyes. Wearing these clothes for even a second longer was a huge torture for him. Little Red's delicate body trembled slightly. She quickly used Lin as a template and began to create the sexy and charming image of Farian. The 3D virtual reality was already being constructed, and the template material was being input. And Lin's breast needed to be big. A D cup. No, an E cup was better. As for the waist, a slender waist was fine. The butt also needed to be big, beautiful curves. Her thighs needed to be slender and smooth. Her arms needed to be slender and graceful. And her eyes needed to be bright like autumn water. Time passed very slowly, as if a century had passed. After recording the material, Lin finally changed back into his normal clothes. The crowd of cultivators also turned around one after another. The male cultivators were a little embarrassed as they looked at Lin, and the beautiful female cultivators blushed as they averted their eyes. Damn it, what's with those eyes? And Lin felt like he'd been hurt a second time. Xin Yuan Chung walked over and patted his shoulder with encouragement in his eyes. Su Xiaolan also leaned against him and said softly, "It's okay. Everything will be forgotten. Everything will be over, although that image is still very memorable." Tian Lingling also comforted him. "It's okay. I just looked. Your breasts are even bigger than mine." And Lin, he had an urge to strangle Tian Lingling. All the cultivators comforted Lin, hoping to give him some mental encouragement so that he could forget the trauma he had suffered. However, the matter of wearing female clothes, and Lin felt like he would never forget it for the rest of his life. After collecting and creating the material, Little Red used the great bewitching technique on the Demon King of Wickedness. The Demon King of Wickedness, who had just recovered a sliver of consciousness from the previous interrogation, now had a blank look in his eyes. Then he saw the sexy and provocative fairy, and a perverted smile appeared on the Demon King's face, and his body started to heat up. From the Demon King of Wickedness's expression, all the cultivators could guess that the great bewitching technique had achieved initial success. Then, the Demon King of Wickedness's breathing started to quicken. In the illusion realm, he was chasing after Farian, who was constantly teasing him. However, Farian was a woman, or man, that he would never be able to pursue. What kind of despair was this? The flames of lust started to burn. The Demon King of Wickedness's expression was very interesting. So interesting that Lin couldn't bear to watch it anymore. The flames of lust seemed to burn endlessly, filling the Demon King of Wickedness's entire body. The Demon King of Wickedness was extremely agitated, but he had no way to extinguish it. What kind of pain and despair was this? His expression started to become sinister, and his entire body started to tremble. "Who can help me? Who can help me? I'll listen to everything you say. Please, please." The Demon King of Wickedness kept muttering and begging. The Demon King of Wickedness, who was extremely resolute in the face of all the torture, was now starting to give in and lower his head to the cross-dresser. "I can help you, but you have to listen to me," Little Red said in her sweet voice. A hint of struggle suddenly appeared on the Demon King of Wickedness's face, but quickly became respectful and submissive. "I promise you." As the Demon King of Wickedness said this, his face suddenly became expressionless, and a blank expression appeared on his face. This expression meant that the great bewitching technique had entered the third stage, the obedience stage.